No, Rory and Ma.
Rory, you know I don't get excited.
That is true.
I've watched some of the greatest artists and entertainers perform right next to you. Didn't move, didn't clap, didn't do anything. You teased me about it. Like, Jesus Christ, do you have any emotion?
I stood next to you, Serena Williams, and Kevin Durant while we watched Drake perform his greatest hits.
Yes.
You didn't flinch
At all.
I thought you were a sociopath.
Right. Today you saw some emotion and some happiness out of me that you probably
You look like a
never
child.
seen.
I've never seen
It's like Christmas morning.
Got here today, elevator doors open, and two guys who I've probably been huge fans of. They have no idea how much they've impacted my life, my friends' lives. They were sitting in the lounge area talking to you and Julian, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Today we are joined by the legendary duo who are a part of what I believe is easily the most impactful show HBO has ever aired.
Oh, you're going for it.
Wow.
That's all order right now.
No, for me. I'm just
Wow.
this is all for me. I don't fuck everybody else today.
Yeah.
I'm just
Fuck
talking
Tony Soprano.
Fuck Tony Soprano. I'm talking about
Not even
Fuck
the
the
wire.
Barksdales.
The wire.
fuck all of
Game
that.
of Thrones.
This
High
is-
praise.
This show,
High praise.
How to Make It in America, represented what me and my friends and my circle were dealing with growing up in New York City. We finally felt seen. We felt like our story was being told. So today we are joined by Bryan Greenberg and Victor Rasuk,
Wow.
also known as Ben Epstein
Yeah.
and Cam Calderon.
Love that.
Listen, man.
Yo,
this
thanks
is
for having us,
Appreciate
man.
that. For real, that was love.
Thanks for having us, man.
I look
Appreciate it.
Love.
I look forward to this day. When we found out that you guys wanted to be on, I was like, this is fun. Look, I wore a crisp hat today. I don't know.
Yo,
so
you know
that-
what's so crazy
I have the
though?
crisp hat. Like, I made this show to me.
He laid his
represented-
outfit out last night.
Yo, 100%. The first day of school.
Yeah.
This show to me represented.
Listen to Man on the Moon all the way
Oh
here.
God,
Oh,
did
yeah.
I?
I need $1.
Domingo D, Canines of Cannabis.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like this,
Oh, wow.
all of this
You
shit
know.
to me, looking forward back 2010 when How to Make It in America first aired. Fast forward 14 years later, I think what you guys did laid the blueprint for what I think New York City is today, as far as definitely what you guys did for streetwear, just for guys that's growing up in the city that wanted to hustle and find their way, and the stories and the life and everything in between. I think that you guys were way ahead of the curve. I know HBO, we'll get into it. I know HBO fucked it up. Too many, they tried to put their hands in it too much, fuck up the chef's order and all of that shit. We'll get into that. But what remains is the fact that Ben and Cam, your characters on How to Make It in America represented so much in the culture, and I'm honored for you guys to be.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate that. That's
I
crazy.
gave you a power.
Yeah.
I came
Nah,
in,
man,
but
I
I'm giving
appreciate
y'all
it.
It's
thanks
crazy,
for
man.
having me. For real.
From a distance.
That's amazing.
To your praise of the intro, remember when we were reading Fonte's comparison between rappers and TV shows?
Yeah.
He wrote an article about.
Yeah.
Oh.
He put How to Make It in America as Biggie.
Oh, what?
I'll take
Yeah.
that.
Something that was about to be a legend but was cut way too short.
Way
I'm
too
paraphrasing exactly
Yeah,
what he was
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he was suggesting it never got to see its potential, but it was one of the greatest things that we had seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
The
I
show.
mean, Biggie's also like, he could be number one.
Oh, absolutely. He
Yeah.
is number one on some people's
Yeah.
list,
Yeah.
rightfully so. But I don't know where to start, but I think I want to start at the beginning of How to Make It in America, like before you guys actually started shooting the show, because I know that you guys actually met at the screen test.
Yeah.
And the chemistry right away was like, these two guys have to know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they don't, this is like the universe aligning itself in a way where we're going to have something special. Shout out to the producers, Ian Edelman,
Yep.
Mark Wahlberg,
Steve Levinson.
Steve Levinson.
Yeah.
I think that what they tried to capture, they did.
Yeah.
But I think that HBO at the time with Entourage and all of those type
Yeah.
of shows,
Yeah.
they were trying to find the next Entourage instead of saying, no, this is totally different.
Yeah.
It has its own space.
You get it.
Let this be what it is.
You get
Yeah.
it. You
So
get it.
speak to how to Make It in America changed your life, and what was life like before
Oh, man.
How to Make It?
It's funny that I'm listening to you talk about like how much of a trendsetter the show was. And
Yeah.
I think that if more people like our fans that were watching the show kind of knew more of the business side, we wouldn't have gotten approached all these years about why I got canceled. You know what I mean? And I don't even think we would even start our own, our own podcast.
Right.
We almost made it. So I appreciate that. I wish more fans would like just explain like that. Be like, oh, then you already know. We ain't got to explain it.
Exactly.
But how it changed our lives. So, like we were talking about earlier, but I'm from Lower East Side, so straight New Yorker, and I started off doing thankfully where I grew up in LES. I grew up on 8th Street Avenue D, Jacob Reese Projects. Okay. Shout out to Jacob Reese Projects. Yeah. But the proximity of where I was at was next to NYU. You know what I'm saying? So in the summers when I was 12, 13, there was nothing to do. I was in Thompson Square Park. I was like, where the hoes at? Where the girls at? Like,
not in Thompson Square Park.
Well, apparently that's what I'm saying.
Where the fentanyl
I was looking and I was like, they ain't here. But what was there though is that because of the proximity of NYU, a lot of NYU students, like film students, were shooting their thesis film there. Yeah. So like me being curious, you walking down the street, you 12, 14. Yeah. No girls. So you like, I'm gonna go to the pool. Right. But then when I was walking to the pool, I saw a bunch of NYU students shooting like, I don't know, like a bird on a tree. And I was like, yo, what's good? And like these white kids, and I was like, yo, what's up? Can I be in your movie? Yeah. And they looked at me and they were like, because they can't pay actors. They're like, so we exchanged numbers before cell phones, before all that, right? Yeah, like, you take the piece of paper from the number, okay, I got your number. Yeah. So then I called them, and then how I got in, and that's why I'm so thankful about being raised in LES, because the level of creativity that was there around that time, I was there during like the Dinkins, when Mayor Dinkins was there, and like before like Giuliani cleaned it up. Yeah. Thompson Square Park was kind of like still sketchy, but there was a lot of artists, what I'm saying? I was like Andy Warhol, the Basquiat's. Like I grew up during that time. Anyway, long story short, NYU, I was doing a lot of short films. One of the film students did a feature that I starred in called Raising Victor Vargas. And from there, like New York was already talking about like, who's this kid, Victor Rasuk? Yeah. And then later on, that's when Ian Edelman, he had me in mind because he saw my movie, right? And he was like, "Yo, I wrote this thing, How to Make It in America." So he already had me in mind, just like he had Bryan in mind because he saw Bryan as something earlier. But that is kind of how I got my foot in with How to Make It in America. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to Neil Brennan interview Michael Che, who also grew up in the projects in LDS. I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah. But he was explaining how crazy that was, like leaving the Courtyard projects to walk into what the world LES really is. Yeah. It was like night and day, but he went to LaGuardia High School because he was around artists in the Lower East Side instead of just staying right in those projects. Yeah. And those projects are very projecty. Yeah. That's
and then
I've been there.
Those LES ones
took me there.
Yo, you fans of How to Make It, when we got cast and it was, we were band in camp. They flew us out. We came to New York, right? We got put up, and I was like, I still have fam in the Jacob Reese project. So I was like, Bryan, I know, we just met, but like, you should come see my fam and come to the projects. Yeah. First of all, I love this dude for so many reasons, but simple fact that he didn't even hesitate. He was like, yeah, let's go. Yo, he can't. First of all, everything in the projects is like mass short, what I'm saying? It's not made for tall people. Yeah. So, what are you, 6'1", 6'6"?
Yeah, well, I'll take the 6'1".
All right, whatever. So he comes into the projects, right? And it's actually one of the nicer buildings in the projects. Because sometimes, like, if you go deep in the projects, like, the more in the middle you go, the worse it is. But if you're in the peripheral, I don't know if it's because logistically where it's at, but it's actually nicer, like NYCHA, right? Yeah. Like, they clean it better, I guess. Yeah. I don't know why.
They don't go all the way in the building.
They want to make you find that the little ones and the ones that are in the peripheral are actually cleaner. Anyway, my aunt happened to live in that one of the cleaner ones. Yeah. And he came, and Bryan, we had, I don't call it bichuela, chuleta, what I'm saying? We had all my people, my Dominican people's food. Yeah. And Bryan ate, we chilled. It was great. And I remember at the end, we were still chilling. I'm laughing with my family because, I got my little cousins and everything. It's like 50 people in one apartment. Right. And I remember, I just look at Bryan, he's mad quiet, and you could just tell. He's like, yeah, it's time to go, bro. Like the claustrophobia started hitting hard, what I'm saying?
Sun's going down, it's time to get out of here.
But it's not like that's not even that. It was like just the claustrophobia because, it's small. I mean, it's like
tight,
it's in the block. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what
and it's crazy when you think about, we grew up here. Like, so many of us lived here. It was one shower. Yeah. 10 people in an apartment. How did we make it happen? Yeah. Everybody has a schedule. Yeah. Everybody has to be at school. Everybody has to be at work.
Get out the bathroom. Yo, what's up? I gotta go.
It never ran out of hot water. The projects never ran out of hot
water. The hottest fucking apartments on earth.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. You said it. Yeah, you said it. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
The fuck?
You be like, yo, turn off the fucking heater, yo. Right. Screaming out tonight, yo, turn off the heater.
Can't turn. No matter how wide
one pipe and melt your skin.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Where you from, Bryan?
So I'm from the Midwest. Okay. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha.
Yeah. So I was born there, lived there for 12 years, and then I moved to St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
So that was like there from 7th through 12th grade. And then I moved here when I was 18.
Okay.
So I went to NYU. But my dad's from Queens, and his whole family's from here. So I come here all the time. So I was always being pulled to New York. Yeah. Just felt like being called almost, I was like, the music I was listening to, all the hip hop, all the actors I respected were coming out of New York, the theater scene.
What rap do they listen to in Omaha?
In Omaha?
Yeah.
Well, it was like 311.
Man, I would
no,
imagine.
311. Remember 311?
Yeah,
they were like the big band back. It was like rap rock, which doesn't really hold up now. But in the 90s, it was like,
give it 10 years. Give it 10 years. It'll come back.
Rage Against the Machine holds up.
Hell yeah.
311 holds up.
Yeah.
But
Rage holds.
They were like the claim to
Rage
fame
holds?
back then.
Rage holds.
We got Crawford now, Omaha.
Yo, but Crawford,
Best
we
boxer,
get into that.
pound for pound.
Legend.
Half a belly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just always never felt like I was gonna stay in the Midwest. I'm happy that I was from there, but New York was always calling me. When I would visit as a kid, I was like, oh man, this is it. So I just felt like it was in my bones. And so when I came to NYU, I was like, I'm here, and I've kind of been here ever since, pretty much.
So the How to Make It in America, the casting call goes out. What did y'all think about the script or the opportunity? Did you think that this was going to be something big, or were you just looking for work? Was it just like, I just want to do something, I don't have any expectations, I'm just going to try this shit and just see what happens?
Well, I had some momentum going at that time in my career. I was coming off of, I was just coming off of an ABC show that I was the lead of called October Road, which we did 2 seasons of. It was a great show. Before that, I did this movie Prime with Meryl Streep and Uma Thurman. And that was very like New York centric movie. And it's a romantic comedy. It's actually, I'm very proud of that film. It's a great film. It's about a younger man I played a younger man dating an older woman, Uma Thurman. And it turns out Meryl Streep is her therapist, is also my mother. So there you go.
Mom hooked you up.
Mom hooked it up.
I have a son, he's single.
But it was very
Also
New
love
York.
just casually saying Meryl Streep and with
just
like,
Meryl.
Had to drop that. Had to drop it. Name drop.
Yeah.
That was a very New York type. Like that was, you ask about How to Make It. Like I feel like my character in that was similar to Ben Epstein, meaning he was like a Brooklyn guy. He was an artist. Like I remember my character took Uma to like a downtown Brooklyn party, and they're playing Biggie and Stretch Armstrong spinning, and like it was just it touched on a couple things that How to Make It would later on expand upon. So I think maybe Ian Edelman, the writer, the creator, kind of saw me in his head with that. But it wasn't an offer. Like I read the script, I was like, I kind of knew Ian because we played ball together, but I didn't even know he was a writer. I was like, oh, this guy's cool. He's a New York dude. He's just cool. I fucked with him. And then I was like, is this Ian, the same Ian? And then I read it, I was like, but he's the kind of dude who he's so ahead of it. Like whatever he does, like, it's cool. He's one of those guys.
Okay.
You're like, if he's saying it's cool, then he's verifying it, right? So I read it and I'm like, okay, I don't really get it, to be honest, because it's not like anything I've ever read before. It didn't have your normal plot, your normal, it just was a vibe, right? And there wasn't a lot of those things happening at the time. It's like, oh, I call it a tone show. There wasn't a lot of that at the time. Now, since How to Make It, there's been other iterations of that type of show, but nothing like that at the time. So I was like, I don't know, but I like Ian. And I did a show called Unscripted on HBO before. So I love HBO. And at the time, HBO was like the best. So I'm like, all right, they're doing it. And it's the lead.
HBO owns Sundays.
Yeah. I mean, their slogan was, it's not TV, it's HBO. Right. Now, this is before Netflix and everybody came up, but they were kind of killing it then. So I was into it. And then, so I went in and then they were like, okay, we're thinking about Victor for the other role. And we did a chemistry read, which you were talking about. And we haven't stopped hanging out since that chemistry read. Now our kids hang out together. It's crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
For me, I was like, I walked in, I was like, straight off for BX.
You're hired.
I was like, yo, BX. They were like, offer.
I'm really from the city. Got the job.
I was like, yo, y'all want somebody?
Put the razor blade out of his tongue.
I wish it was that easy. It was after Raising Victor Vargas, I was trying to like do that thing where I was like, I'm New York, obviously. So like, let me try to do different things. So like shortly after Vargas, the movie was getting so much praise that I was not getting offers, but a lot of interest for different types of movies. So like, it wasn't just straight New York characters, which is what I didn't want to do because I wanted it to like.
You didn't want to be boxed in.
Yeah.
Exactly. And early on too, which I'm glad that I had the right team around me. But the thing is that the offers for something that like wasn't pigeonholing me weren't coming in. So I was still working on trying to like do things that were out the box. I know Rory, you were saying you were a fan of Lloyd to Dogtown.
Yeah.
So Lloyd to Dogtown was like my first major thing after Raising Victor Vargas. But again, audition, like I wasn't Mr. California. I was playing Tony Alva. Like it was like the complete opposite. So I had to work on my accent. I had to live with the dude. He was teaching me, that dude is
Did you learn to skateboard?
I had to learn, but I was living with him and he wanted it right. Yeah. And I was like, they gave us, thankfully they gave us 3 months to do it. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that like, at that point in my career, it was like, I was just trying to do different things outside of New York. And then like there was like a gap of between How to Make It and Vargas, maybe like 8 years or something like that. So I think I like not established, but at least I had content out there like Lords. And then I was on another show. I was on ER, which I played a young doctor coming in. It was like the last season. So I was already sort of like, okay, I'm not just Mr. New York. But when How to Make It came, I didn't think it was a hit. It was like a tone, like Bryan was saying. It was like another script, another pilot season. I was like, all right, I guess I have to audition for this. But I was like, thank God I could do something that's not a Lord to Dogtown or ER where I'm like, I could play more of myself because I knew that world. I mean, I knew the world in New York. I didn't know the fashion world, but I knew like, I could fuck with this. And then when I found out Ian was already interested, it was like kind of like for me to lose. Like I felt like I was already gonna have it, but I was like, at this point, it's for me to lose. You know what I'm saying? So then when we met, and then they saw the vibe, because Lev and Ian and Rob Weiss, they were all there when they saw me and him meet. And I think you could tell in the room, and you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna work.
Yeah,
and we felt that too.
I rolled up on the fixed gear,
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
I think I now that we're thinking about it, I remember thinking, wow, this show could be dope. Because I know the world too. Like we come from this, I'm living in New York. It's like, we understand this downtown scene. We know these people.
Yes.
I was just familiar with the world. No one's told this story before. I think we'd be good ones to tell this story. But I was like, it's very execution dependent. And my agents were like, I don't know, Bryan. I'm like, I think I know. I know this world.
Yeah.
I was like, I think if we do it right, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
So it's a gamble,
The thing that me and my friends, the only thing we could think about at the time, I mean, obviously we know more information now of why we never got a third season of How to
You tell me, man, because I don't know.
Well, we felt like, is this too New York? Like, is this because watching every episode, I was like, bro, we just lived this type of shit last month. We went through some shit like this. Like, this is crazy that this show is depicting real shit that happens in the city.
Yeah.
Even like the clothes, we're in A-Life.
Right.
Going to Flight Club.
Right.
Going to the Club's Avenue and all this shit. It was like, we was just there last night.
You freshly watched the show again, bro, because you named all the spots.
Watching it 10, 12 years ago when it aired, and then watching it now, you pick up on so many
does
other
it hold
things.
up?
Does it hold up?
I just recently
it's
rewatched
insane
it.
how
It still holds up.
It holds.
It's a time capsule. Is what
it's
it
a
is.
time
Does it
capsule.
feel dated to you?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
with the fashion?
And I know you keep it
Not
100
even the
too.
fashion. They're dressing like that now again.
I know. That's what we were thinking. Because
Like, now
You
just
keep it 100 too, so that's dope.
Bro,
man.
it's insane because, again, that's why I'm asking, like, did y'all know, being from New York, obviously spending time in the city, getting that script, shooting it, where you were shooting it, even going to Japan in season 2
Right.
and shooting
Which
that
we gotta
shit
get into
rogue
that
with
shit
no
too, yeah.
no permits. Y'all wasn't even allowed to shoot, just shooting that shit on one camera.
You know everything, bro. Were you there, bro? I feel like
This is my shit.
crazy. How the fuck you knew that?
So I'm just looking at it now, and I'm like, this was so ahead of the time, but it was so great then. But even now, it makes more sense today.
Well, maybe because it was so ahead that it works today.
Yeah, if you did it now, it might come off as a cheesy, like, Kith type of show where it's worldwide now, the streetwear thing.
Right.
It was so niche at that time. Kind of to your point of, if we execute this right, it'll be great.
Yeah.
And to me, that's why the show was canceled.
Because we did it
Because
right.
you executed it so right, it was just to one
That they didn't
community.
get it.
And
Right.
it did not spread
Right.
across to everyone else for someone to get the genius of
And
it.
also now we're living in times that are so fractured, right? Like we're not living in like NBC, ABC, CBS, like 3 channels, right? Everybody's got a show for their own taste,
network,
right? Yeah, their own network, right? So yeah, I don't know. Like it was very niche, you know, and that would work now because everything is niche.
Well, I think they used you guys as a case study to do Girls. I know those are two totally different fucking shows, but to what Maul is saying, like they went to Greenhouse. Like it was such a New York show,
Greenhouse.
but the problems and issues they were going through were so worldwide and relatable that Girls worked. But it still had that, I know this girl.
Yeah.
I know these girls in Bushwick. I know these transplants. I know this. But I think they saw what...
I think they had to make room for girls, if I'm being frank. I think it was like...
You guys did good with the New York shit and we're like, let's find
they didn't just take that. They took a whole fucking crew. Like literally like the camera, the DP, the whole crew that worked on How to Make It. They were like, we're working on the show called Girls next season. And
oh, wow.
And that's when we
Which is the business, not no knock on them, but I'm like, they didn't just take that, but they also took our crew.
You know, Rene was there,
What would have been so cool in hindsight, if it was the same universe.
Yeah.
If those eventually
if they ran into Ben and Cam,
I thought about that too.
You kidding me?
Imagine Cam just smashing all of them like, oh, y'all just moved here? Let's go to the BX. You ever heard of BX? Yeah. Let's go.
One of my favorite scenes ever in How to Make It is when y'all are on the corner downtown selling the leather jackets.
Oh, in the pilot.
When I steal the pleathers and I walk
the pleathers. And Ben is standing there with the cop because the cop is like, let me see the permit.
Yeah.
And you like, all right, cool, I got it. It's right here. And then you walk to the rack like you're going to get the permit.
Yeah.
You snatch the coach and you start running.
Yeah.
Ben doesn't move. He's drinking his coffee with the cop.
Yeah.
The cop is like, you want to call your friend back home?
Yeah.
To me, that's such a you got to let your man know when, listen, I'm about to book it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you doing with this coffee and this cop, but I'm out of here.
But I know me and you ran from 5-0 back in the day. So for me, that was, when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, I've done this.
But that was like so dope time. Because you have the friend that's not going to run.
That's right.
And
Rory,
then you have the friend.
Yes. But
would you have told your man though too?
Right now, I would stand there.
Yeah, you'd be Ben.
Right now,
he's drinking the cover right now.
He's Ben.
Yeah.
He's standing there. I'm the guy that's gonna be like, yo, I'm out of here.
I have a family member laminated card. I hand them that.
Yeah.
I don't know Maul.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. Yo, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for an Uber.
We brought up Michael Che's name. It's funny because I feel like if How to Make It was still a thing, Michael Che would be a character.
Yo,
he's hilarious.
Yeah.
He would absolutely be in How to Make It.
Now I'm trying to think of what project he was, because I feel like, you know, when you grow up in this particular, you know, project or whatever, there's multiple projects right next to, you know, whatever project you grew up in. And I remember that we always had beef with this is so stupid, but like now in hindsight, I'm like, damn, man, I can't believe I was doing stupid shit like this. But we would always have, it was like, you know how like, so I was Jacob Reese, but we always had beef with Cats and Baruch. There's a project called Baruch. Yeah. And I think that's where he might be from. I'm not sure, but I wonder if like I bumped into him on some beef, stupid like adolescent shit.
Yeah.
Just because he was with a whole nother crew and I was with the Jacob Reese. That's crazy. We might have actually bumped it. But
that's funny.
Anyway.
Y'all never met Michael Che?
I never met him, but like now I'm thinking about I could have been having beef with him and I didn't even know who he was.
Maybe at a Knicks game or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Oh, you talking about as an adult? Yeah.
Still beefing?
Yeah, nah.
I can't wait till you guys roll up on each other. It's on site.
I wanted to ask when Entourage was coming to an end is kind of when you guys were like beginning.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I know now that the shows have long been over. They're compared constantly. The LA version of the New York version of Entourage is How to Make It in America.
Never got that.
At the table read or like in the chemistry reading at that time, did you see the similarity? Were you fans of that show? Did you like kind of see it then, or was this something that kind of grew over time?
So I was definitely a fan of that show. I've seen every episode of Entourage. I think it's great. But like I said, like I knew this world. And I knew that this was very far from that world. And Entourage was about like it was like aspirational, right? Wouldn't it be nice to be a movie star? Wouldn't it be nice to like have all your friends come with you and live that life? These guys were trying to like put $1,200 together to like, you know, pay a pattern maker, right? Like this was very not that world, you know? So it was just like two different.
Yeah, Entourage always felt like, I mean, again, because I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Like Entourage always felt like a fever dream. And it was just like this whole like world that was like this, it's real, but it's not.
Yeah.
This show is like, your show is like the whole cop interaction, running from the cops and doing that's real. That's life.
Yeah.
That's stuff that could happen.
Hollywood and How to Make It America was very anti that. It was a completely different world.
Look, we were built that way because obviously it's same producers.
Rob White.
Mark Wahlberg, Steve Levinson.
Money.
Julian Farino. Yeah. And they had heat at HBO at the time. Yeah. So I think it's also easy for, you know, people, they don't want to do a lot of deep diving. You know, they just want a headline. Like, what is it about? Oh, it's New York Entourage. Okay, cool. I'll watch that. You know, it's like, you know, you can't like give them, it's about these two upstarts who start denim. No, you know, so I think that was just their way to kind of introduce us to the world. But I think once people started watching it, they realized that we were a totally different show.
Yeah. What was that first table read like with this guy that has a song called Day and Night?
Right.
Starting to bubble on the radio just a little bit. Because you guys shot the first season, I'd imagine, in 09, right?
08.
08. So did Day and Night even come out yet?
Day and Night was out.
It was
Day and Night was out.
Oh, wait, I think
Cudi was Cudi at the time.
No, it was not Cudi at the time.
He wasn't Cudi, but when he was on the screen, people know, yo, that's Kid Cudi. Like everybody.
I feel like if you were kind of in the know,
that's what it was.
That's Cudi.
Yeah, it was for people in the know.
Day and Night,
more but now wait, thinking that's a
Day and Night came out February 5th, 2008.
Yeah. So, but like
it was
then
just percolating.
When season 2 came out, that's when like the vibe was different. When we were shooting season 2, he was like, because
Man on the Moon was out.
We like, oh shit,
he's bona fide star at that point.
Yeah, at that point, and then season 2, we were like, how y'all lock in? You know, me and Bryan, or at least I was thinking like, how are the producers locking him down with his crazy schedule to shoot the show?
Right.
By the way, and he even said, you know, we had him on our podcast. He was saying like, season 1 to season 2, he like studied like how to be a better actor like in between those seasons so he could come to season 2 coming correct. I mean, that says a lot about just like his artistry, you know what I'm saying? But when he came on season 2, he was Cudi. And there's a video, I think we put it on our pod. The night the videos that we don't have, we put it on our assets, right? Like we were talking about earlier. There's a video the night of when the album, his first album dropped. Man on the Moon, yeah. We were going down Times Square in his like SUV, and we were like, yo, I was shaking him like, yo, your album is out playing right now. We in Times Square, it's just crazy. Yeah. And I was more hyped for him than he was, bro.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
No, but we told the story too. I think on the pod, we're like, you know, we went to go see him at, I think, Santos back in the day. And there was nobody on the stage. This is like when we were shooting the pilot. I mean, there's nobody in the audience. There's like 30 people in the audience. Right?
Yeah.
And Scott comes out there, kills it, but he's also like, you can tell he's a little like frustrated, like it was a small crowd. But he said this thing, and I love the confidence that he had. He said, you guys don't know me now, but I guarantee in a year, you're going to know who I am.
Yeah.
But guess who's in the audience?
Yeah.
Guess who's in the audience?
At the bar in the back with the Yankee fitted below.
Yeah.
So he knew. But like, yeah, I mean, it was his stardom, his talent, undeniable. We all knew. It's like just a matter of time.
He cracked the code for the most genius job. He sells weed at night.
Oh, Domingo Dean.
Dog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who thought of
Canines and Cannabis?
Who wrote that into
Ian Edelman.
I'm gonna say it's Ian. Yeah, it was Ian.
All credit goes to Ian.
That is fucking.
But wait, I feel like because his ears, it still is. I feel like his ears are always to the streets.
Yeah.
And so he
knows somebody that
knows. Yeah.
You can't just create that.
But that's how great the show was executed, because Kid Cudi was exactly who he was in real life at that time.
Yeah.
Like if you knew, as a kid from the Bape store, making music, living in East New York, like he was that scene in a nutshell. Like that was probably one of the best casted roles of all time if you knew who Cudi was at that time.
Facts.
Sure, without a doubt.
And that's all Ian. Ian found him.
Yeah, he found him.
He found him at like a party or something. I don't even know.
And HBO was like, who is this dude? HBO was like, who is this guy? But they loved him. I mean, when he performed, they're like, they loved him so much. We said this on our podcast too, that they loved him so much that they created, like, he came in for Cam.
Yeah.
And then obviously they had Cam, they had the vision of me playing Cam, but then they loved him so much that Domingo didn't even exist in the original pilot, that they wrote Domingo because they loved his audition.
He was originally supposed to be casted for one of the leads, correct?
Cam. That's what I'm saying. He came in for Cam. And so they were like, obviously it was gonna go to Vic, but they were like, yo,
we feel like he could be his own thing.
Yo, and that never happens in our industry. Like never. They never create a new role, you know, just based on an audition. Yeah.
They're like, we gotta get him in the world somehow. And they made
that's crazy.
And then also, which was dope, the iconic Luis Guzman.
Bro.
Cousin Rene.
Yes.
Icon.
Culturally known as the iconic Pachanga.
Yo.
From Carlito's Way. Him being your cousin, I don't know who thought of that, but that was like, this is what really how it really goes. Genius. My cousin just did a shitload of time in the feds, whatever. He's home now.
Yeah,
we need some money.
We all can relate to that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that was like, to me, the most genius. And who else but Luis Guzman to play that role?
His career to me is the example of not being typecasted when everyone's trying to typecast you.
Yeah.
Yes.
He somehow breaks out of that box every single time. he has his stereotypical role that he smokes every time.
Yeah.
But then the next month, you'll see him in something like, how the fuck is he even in this role?
The thing is, like,
and why did it work?
He can do no wrong. He can do no wrong. And I remember when we were shooting, we walked down the streets with him, and he would get love from everybody from different. Every fan was from a different project. Like,
for sure.
It was never the same thing.
Brian and I have, we've had the good fortune of working with some household names.
Yeah.
And be either friends or not friends, but he's the only person that is the most recognized person that I've ever like walked alongside on the street.
All genres.
All genres.
Yeah. No matter what he does, he's pachanga for the
bro. Brian's worked with Meryl Streep, Clooney. I think he's still more recognized than those.
For sure,
like it's
without
crazy.
a doubt.
It's crazy.
He just did my friend's film, Story Ave.
Okay.
Aristotle.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Oh yeah, it was the indie movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think he also produced it too. That's kind of why he told me to go watch it. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
No, Aristotle's super talented.
Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people don't know the story about how Louis even got involved with the show, but there was a point where they didn't even consider him because they didn't think that he would do the show because he was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And so I had two LES cats. He's from LES, so he's from Mazarick Projects. I'm from Jacob Reese, and we had been friends, and so when they were thinking about like a Louis Guzman type, it was like, why don't we just get Louis Guzman?
Yeah,
right.
They're like, oh shit, can we get Louis Guzman? I was like,
business is funny,
bro. Like, I'll make the call. Like, I've known him already. He's like my big brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll call him.
Right.
And so I did, and then whatever. I told him about it, but he was like, yo, it's not enough for me to do in the pilot. Like, I'm only in like one scene.
Right.
I'm like, yo, Louis, there's only one opportunity. We're gonna do a show about our hood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or close to our hood.
Yeah,
Or
New
like,
York.
you know what I'm saying? Vibe.
Yeah.
And so he kind of took me at my word and he was like, all right, well then, and I could tell he was a little bit hesitant. So then I told Ian and Rob or whatever, and then they got Mark Wahlberg to seal the deal because him and Mark had done like 2 movies. Or maybe 1 movie. They did Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
And they were friends. And Mark, of course, was like a huge fan of his and
Absolutely.
whatever. So then all props to Mark. Like he definitely sealed the deal. But can you believe it? If he didn't do it, I can't think of anybody else who
I don't know
done
who else would have played that role.
Yeah.
And at that level, and would just because I feel like a lot of that watching it, it's almost like he's not acting. Like he would really react like that in that situation. That's how he would react in that situation.
Think about Louis. He plays such a great heavy because he's got that face.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do shit. He just looks at you and you're like, okay. Yeah, he's scary. Ben, I was like not acting either. I was like, oh.
You're not sure if you should laugh or be terrified.
Yeah. But he's such a teddy bear, man.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart. Like he's a good man. Like he's all about the people and he's all about giving and charity and he's just he's amazing. Like,
all right, so let's shit on HBO for a little
Okay.
I love this.
I'm going to ask one more casting question before we change gears. Pusha T, how did he get into the show? What was his
Forgot
Pusha T.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yo, Pusha was great, man.
What was the name of that?
I
The
think
Caribbean. What was it? The Caribbean.
He was in season 2.
Yeah.
Were you talking about the Drake or his
What was
name?
the crew? What was the name of the crew that he was a part of?
Oh, man.
The Caribbean song.
I got to be honest. I haven't seen the show in since it aired.
Yeah.
And we're rewatching the show.
That's why I love
And I'm only
it. That's why I love
on,
it.
I'm only on episode 3
because we just finished it.
Oh my God.
My memory's so bad. So like, I don't even know. I don't remember. I'm watching it like, do we get the jeans or not? Like, honestly, I forgot it all. So I have no idea.
Rooting for yourself.
Yeah.
Rooting for yourself.
I am. I'm like, I hope he makes it.
Yeah, I hope he makes
Man,
it.
I hope this gets a 3rd season. Dude. I love this.
Yo, I really like that Ben dude, bro. That Cam dude is all right, but damn, that Ben dude is
I'm gonna be
damn,
pissed if they don't
bro.
pick this thing up.
Yeah. And I love the what was it? The one thing y'all did too with the scarf, leaving the scarf at what was the thing?
Man, I don't know.
Remind me, dog. I
Oh,
forgot.
man. I felt like it was a
Tell me what season. First of all, start off with that.
I think
What
it was
season
one, right? Where y'all would leave the scarf if you hooked up with a girl, and then so if you went back
I
to
don't remember
the same
this.
girl's house, the scarf would be there.
This is our show.
Yo, you sure this is our show?
I think this is
your real life.
I don't remember that.
You rewatch that
and that's
too?
how you knew because we would go to the girl's house and see the
I
scarf.
rewatch it
like,
every summer.
I think you didn't see it, but I think we talked about that at some point. We was like, yo, if we leave the scarf, I know not to go in.
Yeah.
We talked about but you didn't see it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like I think there was a quick mention of that.
Genius
And it was
shit,
and
though.
it was with Scott. I think it was with Scott too. Like it was
You hook up with a girl, leave the scarf.
Yeah. It was
mentioned.
mentioned.
You like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
all right.
You gotta remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I don't know the name of Push's crew, but just he was casted again as a drug dealer, and
Okay, so
season
how
2.
did he get cast? I don't know exactly, but I think Scott Venner, the music supervisor, might have something
Shout out
to do
to
with
Scott.
that.
Scott
Venner,
Yeah,
shout
Broke
out.
Mogul, who was a huge part of the show. And the music at the time, he's
Scott does the music for Ballers.
Yeah, he did Ballers,
Yeah,
Entourage, but he was breaking a lot of like musicians.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Aloe Black
Yeah.
alone. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
Aloe Black credits How to Make It the theme song for launching his career.
And that just speaks to like really understanding a show rather than what your resume is. Because some interview, Entourage has his own podcast now.
Oh yeah.
And they were interviewing him. He was never supposed to score any of that show. The producer just brought it to him for like opinion. Like, what do you think about the show? They were just friends.
Yeah.
He's like, this is great. The music just fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So he replaced all the songs.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, do you want to just keep doing this for the rest of the show? Like, I know it's not your job.
Yeah.
And he just ended up doing that shit.
Yeah.
Scott Venner is like, he's secretly one of the guys that has had his DNA and his imprint on a lot of the iconic shows in the
Yeah. We also got to get Gabe Hilfer. Gabe Hilfer is also one of the music supervisors who doesn't get as much credit, but he's also was a big part of it. And he's huge now. He does like a lot of big, I mean, I did You People, he did that. He does a lot of big shows.
But yo, on a side note, just real quick, because I know you especially, I know Maul is like a big fan, so you want to hear the anecdotes. One of the best moments that I had on How to Make It, there's a lot of moments, right? We can talk about the clubs, how we was living real life. You know, we shut down the club. Yo, we rap, we're going to stay. Go. But there's a great moment I had to do with Aloe Black. So me and Bryan, we shot the pilot, right? So we're like, yo, we don't know if it's a hit, but we felt really good when we shot the pilot. So it was like 8-day. We were just in LA. I mean, it was just in New York. We flew back to LA. So now we got to do the ADR, right? We got to do all the school, you know, all the like, there was a helicopter in one scene. So we got to like redo the voices or whatever, you know, so we in the studio. And they got to start from the beginning, right? Because they got to do in chronological order, like what we have to record with our voices. So they started with the beginning and the credits. And me and Bryan don't know what we watching. We just knew we just shot. We just know what we shot and what was on the page.
Right.
But visually, we don't know what we're about to watch.
Right.
So they started. First time we saw Aloe Black, and then we saw all the I need $1, and then you see my name with the earring, and then you see his name with it, and then the subway, and we looked at each other. I'll never forget this look, and we were like, oh,
we got one.
Like it was like two dudes like acting like kids. We're like, oh shit. And like as actors, yo, it's like it's crazy when you know you got something dope.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare,
never
actually.
forget that moment, bro. It was like, okay, and then ever since then, it was like, pew.
It was like, well, How to Make It, the theme song was so iconic, obviously. Aloe Black.
And the credit sequence.
The credit sequence.
That was just, I think that made way for like the power.
Yeah.
You know
set the tone.
Because it set the tone for like shows like, listen, from the gate, it has to hit the music, the way the names, the character, like everything has to, How to Make It set that tone.
But even before we shit on HBO, they've always been great at that. From Sopranos opening to Wire, like you just knew right away.
But you gotta remember, for us, like we could have been the first, like we could have been the first stinker. We were like, we don't know, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's crazy about going into a powerhouse like that. Like, damn, are we gonna ruin the legacy?
Exactly. So we were kind of nervous when we saw. We were like, we're not gonna be that good. But I was gonna say too, like I don't know, like even when you record music, don't you feel like sometimes, I don't know if you ever had that moment that we had where you're like, you recorded it, you think it's gonna be dope, but then you hear you're like, oh shit. If you had that,
Rory,
that's what
overthinks everything. Man.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we had that moment, so it was just crazy. I never, and the simple fact that I could talk about it and visualize it still, telling y'all the story. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we had. Like it was crazy. Anyway, we were talking about Aloe Black, but Pusha T, I think it was Scott Venner. And by the way, I didn't even know who he was at the time because he didn't really like.
You didn't know the clips?
I didn't really know, man. Like I had to be put on by Ian and everybody. And then he came on and did that whole thing. Like, you know, when he raps.
Well, you knew who the clips were.
Yeah, I knew the clips. Him specifically, I did not know.
I don't think he was like super solo at that point.
He wasn't
solo at all.
And then when he was after the show, like then it wasn't because of the show, but I'm just saying the chronology was he blew up after the show, obviously.
2010 was probably around the time Pusha T became the solo artist.
Yes.
You guys know your music.
It was right around the same time. Yeah, that's why I was wondering.
I was at Def Jam in 2010 when he became like the solo act, when he was doing all the Good Friday shit, and Kanye came in and was like, one of my first signees that I want to push is this guy from the Clips. And everyone's
good
like,
music. Yeah.
You sure?
He's from DMV, right?
He's from Virginia.
That's the first time I ever heard that term because I remember talking to him off set.
He's from the Bronx, man.
Oh, word?
He moved to Virginia.
Really? Okay, because he told me Virginia. So
he moved to Virginia.
Because I would have talked about the Bronx.
He moved to Virginia at a very young age, but I still say Pusha's from the Bronx.
Okay, well, that's the first time I ever heard the DMV, that term, you know, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So I was like, I don't know what that is.
While we're on good music, what was your reaction when Cudi hit the group chat and said, yo, Puff just blew up my car?
Honestly, I never even got into it with him, man.
I never talked to him about that.
I'm close friends with Cudi, and I never brought that up. I don't know.
That'd be a weird thing to bring up too. Like years later, if I read some
Rory,
paperwork,
you said exactly what I was gonna say.
I'd probably leave that alone. If he didn't tell me,
it's like if you're my man, right?
Yeah, if it comes up, it comes up.
If you're my man and we talking about some shorty, and then that happened. am I really gonna ask you that? Like, I don't know. Maybe you would, but I wouldn't.
It depends on how close we are.
And I think that's why we kind of just touch and go.
Like, I would look at you for a while and just be like,
that is crazy.
And then this shit happened, obviously, what happened with Diddy. Even more reason why I don't even ask.
I don't even want to touch it.
Yeah, I don't even want to touch it.
Yeah, I feel you.
And it happened so long ago and it didn't even hit the press. Like, I'm sure that's something he's wanted to move on from for quite some time.
Yeah, I can't even speak on
back
it.
and relive that shit.
Yo,
I'd leave it alone.
if you're my man, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm sorry, especially if it came up again with this shit.
If you want to talk about it, I'm waiting.
Sure.
But I'm not
All
going to
ears.
force it. I'm not going to force it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll read about it.
the Ben holding the coffee in me would have been like, well, did you have auto insurance? Did you file? Like, what?
Yeah. So
There's ways around this to get a new car. You should have called me.
All right, so
Yo, that's
we end season 2. Y'all
which is
at
my
the-
favorite season.
Y'all at the
Yeah, me
beautiful
too.
rooftop.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Everybody
but I
has on
remember.
the crisp jeans and
Yeah, but then you going right to the end.
Yeah,
Let's
I
start from
want
the
to hear about the
beginning.
Japan stories.
Oh,
Yeah, let's
you'll
talk
get
about
it.
Japan.
Okay, we'll talk about Japan. So y'all shot in Japan. I read that there were no permits.
Nope.
Nah.
Y'all had like maybe 1 or 2 cameras,
Yep.
1 PA,
And an unlimited budget, which is probably why we got canceled.
ran the money up in Japan, going crazy.
Yeah, the yens were flying.
The yes
And it's so much material that y'all never put out from Japan.
There could be a whole episode.
Y'all
of
only
what we
used
shot.
like maybe
90 seconds.
2 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Yo, so you talking about you?
That to me is the biggest travesty because
Hold
we
up.
shot so much good stuff out there.
So
That's on the cutting room floor.
where we start, y'all? I don't
You-
know where to
you
start, bro. You take cats, projects, New York. You take them to Japan, Tokyo. You put them up in what's the hotel?
This kid, man.
Hold on, shut up. Let
Big
me tell
God's
the story.
canceled. Let's just
Yo,
be
the
real.
Scarlett
You got
Johansson
us
hotel
canceled.
in Lost in Translation. What was it?
The Park Hyatt.
You put me at the Park Hyatt.
In Japan.
This
So
It's
we
a
gonna
different
act-
level. It's
we
a
gonna
different
act-
level of
this
luxury.
guy
We gonna act
was
as
like,
fool.
You know, jet lag, get your brain going.
Hold up.
It
So
wasn't your
we
fault.
shooting kamikaze style, right? We got, like you said, gorilla style, no crew, right?
Kamikaze.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, I come from that world in a lot of ways because I came from the New York Indie. So I was like, oh, I know what we're doing. This is the kind of shit we're gonna do. I know how to do this right.
Yeah.
So we was shooting a lot, right? And then I would like sometimes be like, yo, we done yet? I'll tell Ian, yo, we done. I'm not, no, and Ian got it.
you guys got into
We
it.
got into it. I was like, yo, we good. Club.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
trying
saying?
to hang
I'm
out.
We were
I'm
going to
trying to
Harlem.
get
There's
this-
this hip hop club named Harlem we wanted to go to.
Yo, I want to go to the hip hop club.
Like
I
Jusky was.
want to eat the
spinning.
Scarlett Johansson sushi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was trying to do it up. You know what I'm saying? I was
Sushi.
I was trying to do the Bill Murray thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we was in Park Hyatt, and then we were like on day 3. I'm like, yo, we got all the footage. I'm like, I'm not showing up at the 9 o'clock
Avenue Diva
call
came
time.
out.
That it's not really a call time. It's just heads being like, yo, what time we all meet up? It's not a real call time.
Right.
Yeah.
So the 3rd day, they're like, yo, where's Vic? I got my massage. I'm like I'm up at the Park Hyatt getting the massage. I met, some shorties. I'm like, yo, I'm good. I'm gonna meet you. Tell me where y'all at, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
That's a storyline in itself.
I'm like, tell me where y'all at, and I'll be there because we got enough footage. I was acting a fool, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you right now.
But why didn't they use it though? All of the footage y'all have, why was none of that used?
I don't know, man.
no,
it was a great 90 seconds of television, though.
Oh no, that was
It's
great.
my favorite 90 seconds,
That was
bro.
amazing.
I
It was
is
the best
because
thing
it
I've
was
ever
just
shot.
2 cameras, maybe it just didn't match the rest of the season.
I don't know, man. But it was a vibe, you know?
Yeah.
We caught a flavor of it, and
Yo,
and that
yo.
could have been a whole season.
Yo,
I remember what we shot
that
at.
flight, yo. So let me tell you another part of the story. I don't know if y'all gonna keep this or not, but so me and Brian, right? We like, all right, we done with Tokyo. Ian flies back, right? Me and Brian, like, we already here. Let's go to South Korea and like, let's just go to Seoul because
My boy is a big DJ out there, so
Yeah,
he had it all hooked up.
And by the way,
Okay.
but besides that, like, we already knew it was a party time. So we're like,
Yeah.
we already here. It's already paid for. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
So we get there, right? Yo, tell me why I didn't realize 15-year-olds can get drunk and like get stupid and fall on the street and be like, and I'm like, oh, this kind of town. Oh, shit.
Yeah,
So,
it's basically like New Orleans, like Bourbon Street.
but Bourbon Street, like on a steroid.
Yeah,
though.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
It's a little
like
sloppy over
we
there.
didn't sleep. I remember I was like, yo, I'm so tired at like the 3rd day. But we ate, yo, we
we
partied.
ate well.
Yo, we were like, yo, HBO, we love y'all, man. I was thinking we coming back season 3. This season 3 money gonna pay for the season 2 money. And the
Got
season
back
2.
there's like too many massages.
Too
Yeah,
many
way too
massages.
many.
I'm like, this is gonna pay for all that, man. Yo, but the crazy.
Yo, I was
Season
downstairs
three,
getting the
trapped in
continental
North
breakfast,
Korea.
trying to be good, man.
Yeah, he was trying to get the continental breakfast. I was already eating sushi at 11 a.m. Like, yo, bring that shit upstairs. You know what I'm saying? So
Can I keep this robe?
I for sure blew that budget. It was crazy. But when we were in South Korea, the best part of that,
Guy.
there was a lot of good trip. There was a lot of good parts. parts of that trip. But I remember we were on Korean Airways flying the 747. We was on the bottom part, right? First class. Yo, there was nobody in the first class. From Seoul to LA, and me and Bryan just looking at each other like, this is the best it's ever gonna get.
It's all downhill from here.
It's all downhill from here. Like, we enjoyed this 12-hour flight.
This is the peak.
The girl was so bored at the flight attendant. Like, we were having conversations, and she'd be on her phone, like, because there's nobody to serve except me and him. Like, we was already like, let me get the third cookie at this point. She got nothing to do.
Right.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Anyway, I just had to throw that story out there. Like, I'm still thinking about it.
Season two, you definitely could tell that the budget was bigger.
Yep.
Yes.
The way it was shot,
We had a yacht.
Yeah,
With
everything was
Yo.
it was beautiful.
Let's tell the Jay-Z story after you ask the question. I got
But season two, as far as, because I read that HBO, the people at HBO wanted the characters to progress.
Yeah.
They wanted the writing to progress with the characters faster or something like that I read. And I was just like, what?
I know.
In season two, you wanted to just...
Did you feel like it did? Or do you feel like did you like season one better or no?
Well, season one, the first one is always going to be special because it sets the tone. But I like season two because it was like, okay, y'all got the t-shirts.
Right.
Y'all made y'all first little bag.
Yeah.
Now y'all starting to rub shoulders with people that's really in it.
Yeah.
They like y'all energy. They like y'all personality. Y'all entering this world.
Yeah.
But y'all are still yourselves. Ben kind of gets caught up. Pussy blindsides him a little bit.
Yeah. It happens.
Cam, you start to see y'all roles kind of switched in season two. You become more like, yo, bro, we got it responsible.
Yeah.
Where Ben is like
I
caught
lose
up.
the plot a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that to me was the interesting part because it's like, okay, the dynamics have shifted a little bit once they got into this new world of, okay, now we're really mixing and mingling with these people.
Yeah.
And it progressed beautifully all the way to the end of it. Everybody's wearing the clothing, the jeans, the t-shirt, and then we just don't get nothing after that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like we got a glimpse and okay, it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's taking
I
off.
love season two, man.
And then it's like nothing.
Well, what I liked about season two is the stakes got higher.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like when you're just doing like the $1,200 to pay a pattern maker, like that's cool and relatable, but like the drama isn't there as much.
Right.
But when you've got like millions on the line for these characters who've just come from that world, it just feels like everything gets bigger. Right.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy that. As an actor, it gave us more to play with.
Yeah.
And it does suck for the fans because it felt like we were just hitting our stride.
Absolutely.
Right. And then it's just out.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think that goes back to the comparison of Entourage? Because they're two totally different shows.
Yeah,
but
it's getting into that Entourage world, right?
Season two on Entourage, he had already gotten Aquaman. Back to like more, this is a fantasy show.
Yeah.
He was about to be the biggest movie star on earth season two.
Right.
And maybe they're looking at this like, all right, Kith needs to be open by now.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Just a thought. Maybe
No, I
they were
see
still
it. I see it. I see it.
It needs to progress quicker.
Yeah,
But
but
it
it
can't just be struggling this long.
But why do...
They're different shows though. That's why it's a stupid thought.
If it's working...
It's not stupid.
Clearly this thing is working.
Right.
The show is working. I don't know what the numbers look like and what HBO wanted, but where I was sitting at and where I was from, everybody Sunday.
Right. But see,
was
you're
How to
not,
Make It in America.
the executives weren't sitting where you were sitting, right?
And that's the
They
problem.
were sitting in different places, right? And it was registering on different frequencies.
Yeah.
So I think it really registered hard. I'm on the same frequency as you. Like I really would watch this show.
Yeah.
This was my kind of show.
Yeah.
But but HBO at the time, I think they were looking for super high ratings. Everybody was stealing our shit.
Yeah, everybody, that was another thing. Everybody was stealing our shit. Because a lot of cats that liked it, they couldn't afford HBO.
Yeah.
So they were kind of stealing our shit too.
I used to love your show. I ripped everything on BitTorrent. I was like,
yeah, that's the reason why we got canceled. Thanks. Cool. So it was like a low-key diss, but like a compliment at the same time.
Hey, see, guilty, right?
I was in a college dorm room when the show came out.
See, I didn't have HBO.
Before that, I was ripping Entourage off torrents and shit.
That's your fault.
I didn't watch the shit in high res.
Don't come at me, man. It's your fault.
My Dell laptop.
Yeah, no, we were Sundays. That was
shit ran
thing.
on gasoline.
And that was a big part of it.
That was a big part of it.
And then also, I think HBO, what they were looking for at the time was, the awards, and we weren't getting the awards, but it was buzzing on the street level and very high.
Level,
yeah.
Looking
but I don't think
awards.
there's no social media at that time, so you can't count like those impressions. There's no way to quantify it, So I think it was like they didn't really know what they had. And I can't speak for them. I'm too inside. I can't be objective about it.
Yeah.
But it feels like that. and I think they wanted to make room for girls, which is a good show, but they didn't want too many New York young people in New York shows.
I maybe
that. It's the same universe to me. That's why I think they worked.
I mean, that kind of happened to me too. Like,
Rachel could have been in Girls.
I did a really cool show called Unscripted on HBO.
Yeah, I don't show.
You know it? Yeah. Okay, so it's hard to find.
Stop.
Yeah, I know. Well, shit, How to Make It in America is hard to find too. Well, the way they push things on Max.com right now.
But you can't find Unscripted on streaming. It's gone.
No, it's on TV though.
No, you can't find it. Or I hope if you
haven't seen it in years,
let me know.
Let him know because he's been trying to find it because I love that.
This was like one of the
it doesn't look like it's available anywhere.
Yeah, you can't, I don't know where it went.
No, I'm saying before it went to Max and even before HBO Go, you were able to find it on the TV, like in the depths of HBO,
really?
like before they had.
This was one of the coolest things I've ever done, right? This show called Unscripted that George Clooney
created. I think I found a link to it on YouTube.
Oh, see, you can rip it on YouTube. There you go.
There we
You
go.
know what's funny though? But if How to Make It came back, let's just say.
Hold on, let me finish my point.
So
So the thing is, this was a really cool show. The actors love the show. It's about actors trying to make it to Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I play a version of myself. I played Bryan Greenberg. This was before reality shows became reality shows. So I was playing an actor trying to make it. I was sort of playing myself. But I wasn't. They would book me. It's kind of hard to explain. They would book me on shows like ER and just to be an extra, but we'd be filming all that stuff, like me talking to Noah Wiley in the cast, right?
Oh, that was cool.
Playing scenarios, right? And then in real life, like they came on One Tree Hill and we would create scenarios that like, okay, Brian's doing this. And like we'd film with the cast, and they filmed on Prime as well. And we would shoot with Meryl Streep and with Thurman. And we'd film all these, like, for example, we did this scene in Unscripted where my character, Bryan Greenberg, it's very surreal to talk about like that, shows up drunk to work. Right? Okay. Like I didn't know
Brian would never do that.
I would never. But so like they changed my call time. I didn't know I was supposed to work that day, and I got to come in and I'm wasted in front of Meryl Streep. Right?
Wow.
Not real.
Right.
Didn't happen.
Right.
But so I would film the scene. I had 2 mics on me, right? I had a mic on me for Unscripted, a mic on me for Prime, right? So I'm shooting the scene on Meryl Streep, and then we yell cut. And Meryl's in on the joke. And then I'd say, oh my God, I'm so hungover. I'm dying right now. She's like, oh my God, do you want me to get you some Advil from the prop table? So it was like filming 2 things at once. Yeah. So very surreal, right? But anyways, point is, great show. But at the time, HBO had extras. They had Entourage just premiered.
Yeah.
And they had The Comeback. And they had Curb Your Enthusiasm. So they had all these what's
the Comeback?
The Comeback was with Lisa Kudrow.
That's right.
But it's all these like actor type shows.
Okay.
And I think they were just like, there's too many. We gotta So you can't have too many of the same thing on the same network. So I felt the same thing happened with How to Make It. It was like, can't have too many young New York shows.
Have you seen Dave yet?
Yeah, I like Dave.
I like Dave a lot. Unscripted has some comparison to it.
I think How to Make It might too.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But I really like that show. I think it's a really smart show. I think
show,
Curb Your Enthusiasm has more.
The comedic side is definitely dry Larry David humor, but more so the scenarios he's put in with real life rapper to actor. I see an Unscripted with Dave.
I'm glad you saw that, man. Not a lot of people have seen it. I'm really proud of that show. That's one of the coolest, most unique things I've ever done.
That show, for real, like legit. I watched that show.
Yeah, it was fun.
Man, that looks like he had fun too, man. And I always quote it because, the movie that his character gets on is called Tough Zone. So he's like, Tough Zone. I always do that.
When we're playing ball and Vic scores, he always says
I'm like, every time I score, we play ball, I'm like, Tough Zone.
Keep saying.
I played that shit out. Let's talk about Japan. I'll just
No worry and mouth.
Maul, I have to thank Via, man. When I came on this podcast, I was off 2 of the Elevate gummies. Mm-hmm. The comments were saying it was the best performance I ever gave. They liked me on the gummies, to the point that I even went apple picking over the weekend, which is the original sin. So I had to take the Cloud 9 gummy just to relax and get me in that mode to get my Adam and Eve on.
Whenever we take our long flights, I like to take the Dream Sleep gummies.
Okay.
To kind of relax me and help me fall asleep before we take off.
I take
off before we take off.
I've noticed every time that we are on a flight together with this tour, you knock out way before they even get through the safety stuff.
Thanks to the Dream Sleep gummies.
I get it. They are the industry leader, over 500,000 customers served, made in the USA, farmed and crafted with care in the United States. Their products range from 0 milligrams to 100 milligrams of THC, which is great for me because I need to microdose. I just don't really have the tolerance the way you do. But if you want to go there, you can go there with them.
They also have 0 THC products. If THC isn't for you, you can still take advantage of their CBD line with products designed for sleep, focus, and energy that will keep you glowing all year long. If you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code RORYMALL to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. This fall, enhance your everyday with Via. Again, if you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code RORYMALL to receive 50% off. Rory, the NBA season is back.
Thank God.
So you know what that means?
What's that?
I'm back on Prize Picks, baby.
Of course.
Got to get my picks in. I'm going with Anthony Davis in the over. He's been covering every week for me. Prize Picks, Anthony Davis is the guy to go with.
So I'm going to go to the NFL side. The Eagles have the Jaguars. With their record, I think Saquon Barkley is going over 100 yards.
He's been balling.
So I'm going above.
He's been balling.
With Saquon, over 100, easy. But which is great because sometimes my lineup is all the way messed up. But Prize Picks invented Flex Play, which means you can still cash out with your lineup and you can double your money even if your picks doesn't hit.
We love a good double up. We love a good double up. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks.
Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5 more. You don't even need to win to receive a $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, which LeBron James invented.
Download the app today and use code RORYMALL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code RORYMALL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Maul, can I be vulnerable with you for a second?
I mean, haven't you always?
Sometimes, with my schedule and being a parent, those intimate moments don't always happen as frequent as often. Sometimes it's spontaneous, and I have to knock it out of the park when it's time to do that. And that's why I have Hims. It provides access to treatments that can help me stay hard and last way longer, giving you that boost of confidence so you're ready to knock that thing out anytime.
Next time, just don't look me in my eye when you say that. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is 100% online, so Rory, there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits.
All you have to do is answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in a discreet packaging for free. I live in a building, and
you want nobody in your business.
Neighbors are nosy, and they already know I'm not even getting any, so it's
ED and 6D. I know.
No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers like myself, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you.
Start your free online visit today at hims.com/RoryMall. That's HIMS.com/RoryMall for your personalized ED treatment options. HIMS.com/RoryMall. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. We keep talking about Kith.
Right.
How much do you think Crisp inspired?
I've talked to Ronnie about this. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kith and what Ronnie's done with the brand. And by the way, he's going to come on the pod. We're going to talk about.
Well, Ronnie said it inspired him. He said,
he said, inspired.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. He's kind of, and I always,
Teddy too with Ame. I'd imagine.
I mean, I haven't met Teddy. I'm a huge fan. Obviously, I'm wearing this shit right now. Mm-hmm. I love what Ame does. I'd love to talk to Teddy. I think he'd be a great guest as well. But yeah, Ronnie always says you told our story. Yeah, you told my story.
100%.
So it's
we were
really
like
cool
this close to get Ronnie. Like it was just a schedule.
No, we're gonna get him.
We're gonna get him. I'm just saying, like we had an episode ready to go like 2 weeks ago. It was like a scheduling thing. Yeah. But he's coming on. But it was like, damn, so close.
Jeff Staple would be good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like that was that era too. Yeah. Like in real time.
Well, I think wasn't he one of the pitches? I feel like his name was brought up already.
Yeah. I mean, when you guys were filming, he was y'all in the show at the time.
Yes.
In Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Putting the pigeon everywhere.
Yeah.
Jeff Staple, to me, I thought they were kind of telling his story at the time.
Yeah. A lot of these guys, the Hundreds, those guys out of LA, a lot of these streetwear fashion guys have come up to us throughout the years and have said we've told their story. And we told it authentically. So I'm proud of that.
What was the Jay-Z story that you had?
Oh, yeah. All right. So check this out. So Yo,
I'm excited. Let him
It's
cook.
crazy. It's crazy.
Does he blow someone's car up?
Nah. Fuck. Shit. I gotta lower the expectations down. To me, I think it's dope because you put help in anything.
No cars were blown up.
No cars are blown up.
Yeah.
So when we got Pharrell, right? So before that episode was already written, it was about that we met somebody on the boat, right? Somebody influential, like a Jay-Z or Pharrell. Anyway. So Jay-Z apparently, Ian was cool with Rick.
It was going to be the first. All right, it's going to be the first episode of the second season where Ben and Cam were having a crisp.
Okay,
pop-up.
yeah, I'm sorry, not the boat. Yeah, it was the pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
But Ian was cool with who's his
I think it
man?
was Rich Kleiman. Yeah.
Okay.
With Climate.
Rich friend
Yeah.
of the show.
So Rich.
Love Rich.
So apparently, Ian brought up to Rich, Jay, yo, can we get Jay? So Rich didn't say yes or no, but kind of well, let me talk to Jay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So this was weeks before we shot, right? So when we were about to, I guess the morning of when we were supposed to shoot that scene, the story goes that Jay gets to the office, looks at Rich, is like, yo, aren't I gonna do that, whatever that show, the How to Make It show? And I guess Rich was like, nah, or no, that's not gonna happen, whatever. But it was on Jay's radar.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Rich didn't think that
It's like a miscommunication.
it was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
So had the miscommunication not happened, we would at least have Hove for some, which I think that would have been G could shoot.
the scene
Just like how
was
you
gonna be-
I'm good. If he would have came on the show.
Yeah.
Granted, we got Pharrell later, which by the way, we were still happy.
It's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But yo, can you imagine if Hove just lowered the window, be like, yo, what's going on over here? And then just raises the window and
That's
just
it. That's all you would need.
No, the whole
But even
thing
then, I
was-
think Pharrell makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
more
it
in the
does.
fashion world.
Tied to the streetwear
Yeah.
shit and
Yeah.
But if you a music fan we all
Oh,
are,
of course.
we would have been like,
Of
yo.
course.
I think the bit was going to be that Ben and Cam were super hyped that Jay might stop by.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the thing was I think there was a shooting at the pop-up or something like that. Wasn't there? That's why the pop-up dispersed.
shut down.
Yeah, it got shut down.
Guzman's
And then Jay was supposed to roll by at the end, roll his window down and be like, it's not happening. And then just roll and then
Fire.
yeah,
So
but
you
it
would
didn't
need-
So
happen.
it was a miscom, bro.
Yeah.
You could have had Hove.
And he
I'm
was a
still
fan
tight.
of the
I'm still
reboot.
tight, bro.
Yeah. And he was
still
a fan
tight.
of the
Yeah.
show, so that made sense.
But Hove is HBO Sunday guy.
Oh yeah, no, it was a thing. Soul Food Sundays at Jay's crib was a real thing back then. Have y'all ever really thought about taking Crisp and making it a real thing?
It's funny because you see this merch here for our podcast. It's I think we're just doing the podcast as a Trojan horse to make some merch. No,
It's just to talk about the merch.
yeah. No, I mean it's been fun because we're kind of reliving our characters by doing this. It's pretty fun. We've talked about it, but I think with this we're sort of reliving that the Ben and Cam world. You guys know how it works. Making merch and make it. It's been truly enjoyable. Actually.
Also I don't know if y'all remember, but 4 or 5 years ago, we linked up with a boy of ours who had a brand, and we did we weren't playing Ben and Cam, but it was a little thing that to promote his brand.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and Bryan were chilling on the cafe, and we were
New York Nico shot it.
New York Nico shot it.
Shout out to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw
shout
that.
out.
I saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yo, so you saw it,
Yeah.
So it was kind of not a spoof, but
It was a nod.
Yeah.
it was a nod,
Yeah.
exactly. It was a nod. And yo, that shit went bananas viral. Everybody's
absolutely.
season 3 coming back.
I almost
We're
felt-
That's what started the talk.
I almost felt
season 3
bad.
Yeah.
I was like, what do we do?
I felt bad for the fans. It's that's not what we were
That's
intentionally.
I didn't
what
mean to
thought.
tease people.
Everybody started hitting me
Yeah.
like, yo, they coming back. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? And then I was looking at it. I looked at the clip. I was like, I don't know, man. They don't look like they
Nah.
filmed anything. They look like they're
Just hanging
they're
out.
playing with the
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
and kind of like nudge the producers look, the internet is going crazy over this one clip
But
about
apparently that got up to the execs.
Of course it
did.
People are like, oh, is this?
But I think that gave us the inspiration
Yeah.
to do our own joint. Is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah,
After
yeah.
we saw that,
Yeah.
we're we do our own
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it. But what y'all are doing is dope. Rewatching it,
Yeah.
and talking about each episode, reliving it.
Yeah.
I think that's a genius idea.
But the pod, when we pitched the pod during the actor strikes, we're like, we got to do something, man. So that's when the pod idea came around. And also people coming up to us all the time. Like, yo,
for
what happened
10
to the show?
years,
What happened to
being
the show?
what happened to the show? What happened to the show?
Yeah.
And we're like, let's do this podcast.
Let's do this for the fans, right? But then we're thinking, there's so much more here. There's so much more meat on the bone than just the 16 episodes we shot. It's
Absolutely.
all the themes are still relevant.
Yeah.
The hustle never ends. And we're just so curious to talk to people about their ambitions and how they went about their achieving their goals and all the failures they had. And I just think it's super relevant for all these fields, chefs, actors, musicians. It's athletes. It's been really cool.
Also, you know, we gonna hit y'all up to come on our podcast because y'all,
absolutely,
both y'all stories, man. Just the way y'all at now, like the hustle.
Whenever,
but I'm just saying, like y'all are the epitome of the hustle, which is I think what Bryan was saying about our podcast is like there's only 16 episodes, right? That's all we did.
Yeah,
we can't do a full season of a podcast. So I think now we're starting to sort of like find our way that like it could be about everybody's hustle game, right?
That's the theme of How to Make It in America.
Right, the theme of How to Make It in America, but like it's everybody got to hustle. It's like when you talk to people, you're like, what? You did what? Like that, how you blew up to where you are? Like what was the journey that got to you? Right. And all the anecdotes too. Like people find that interesting, as you guys know, you know what I'm saying? So I think our podcast, we having fun. That's the biggest thing is like, y'all know, we ain't getting rich off of it, straight up. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah. But as long as we having fun and then we catching up and we've already been homies for all those years, but like to have an excuse to like sit at the studio, chop it up,
leave our family,
meet y'all, you know what I'm saying? And like, leave the
have
kids,
a real excuse to abandon your family.
You know already what it is, you know what I'm saying?
We're on a work trip right now, man.
Tell the wife, y'all, it's a work trip, y'all.
Networking.
Yeah. But it's been fun. So now we like, after this New York trip, we like, oh yeah, we were already excited.
We got to do more work trips.
We do more work trip.
Maybe
we might see y'all in Detroit.
Japan.
Yo, we might see y'all in Detroit, London.
Go to Japan.
Get those $20 burgers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that y'all should definitely try to do something with Chris. I think.
Yeah, I don't know,
but I don't know if legally we can do that. The name
probably don't have the rights to it.
Like HBO might have the rights.
I don't even know. I haven't looked at it.
Would not give them the rights to that.
I know that somebody else bit Crisp. Like it's a denim line now. I think that.
No, they already.
I don't even want to give them a plug, but whatever.
That's crazy. They did that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that just speaks to exactly how real the show felt, how much people connected to it.
Yeah.
How many people meeting the plug, where we from, you meet a plug for something else.
Right.
Meeting the plug for the denim.
Yeah.
And for the blank tee.
Yeah.
That's such a New York thing. We and Rory were just going through that with our merch.
Yeah.
Trying to find like the correct blanks.
It's hard, right?
2024.
It's
You know what I mean? So it's like just that.
Rory's face says it all right there.
Because
do you enjoy the process or no?
Not really, because it's not my passion. I enjoy it, but it just speaks to like when you're ignorant to how other businesses move, they are the same as the ones you understand. People think podcasting, let me just set up a mic and talk.
There's
a
hustle.
So much to this.
I know.
So when it comes to merch, ignorant to that entire process.
Right.
Now I see why this is people's entire life's passion.
I know.
Because it takes so much time to get something right.
Yeah.
It's not just printing a logo on a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
This is an entire life.
Feel right.
Yeah, like
it has to sit right.
Yeah.
It has to like, you have to see it and be like, okay, that's the vision.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought it would look like, what it would feel like.
Right.
People wearing it. One of my favorite parts of season 2 is when y'all see the kids in the street with the shirts on.
In Japan.
And y'all like, yo, look at this shit. Like it's moving.
Yeah.
That's such a real thing.
Yo, that happened to me yesterday, right?
Oh,
with the podcast. We were over at, where was that pizza spot? It's dope. Over on
it's got a weird name.
Lower Side. Come on.
It was
Scar.
on what is it?
Scar.
Oh, Scars?
Yeah.
Scars.
Legendary, right on Orchard.
Yeah.
We were down
You
there.
can sit at the bar and
That
all
was the
that.
And,
homies. Great spot.
Yeah.
I walked out to
Great
take a
music.
phone call, and someone's like, "Yo, love the pod." I was like, "That's the first fan, first podcast fan ever."
Kind of what you were saying.
That's
It's
great.
like,
You know what I mean? It was a nice moment. It's a very nice moment.
See the
Yeah,
merch.
it's reacting.
He watches the pod.
Yeah.
Same feeling you get when you have something and an idea. You execute the idea and it gets out into the world and you now see people gravitating and connecting to the idea.
It's amazing.
It's
cool.
It's an amazing
And this is a new world for us, right? As actors to come into the podcast world.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, we're not the first ones to do that.
Right.
But it's just such a different it's just a different muscle, right? And I people are like, what's the pod about? And I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. Because I think
I still struggle at Thanksgiving dinner to explain it. So
but I don't
We're
but I think
10
people
years in.
appreciate
it's
that
better
too
though.
sometimes,
I don't
too.
want to have, I'm
sure.
not trying to push an agenda.
Yeah.
I'm like Vic said, I'm not really even doing it for the money. We're just hanging out and just vibing. And and that's kind of like what the show was. It didn't really have a plot.
Yeah.
It was just like, it sort of had a plot,
Yeah.
but it was really just hanging out with these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the same thing as the pot.
I think what y'all are doing is it's so dope, man. Like again, something like How to Make It in America and what it's meant to so many people, including myself, and to see y'all still have this chemistry and this relationship.
Nice, man.
And now do it podcasting, but then actually going back and reliving
It's been fun.
such a great, iconic show.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility for a season 3.
Can I chime in?
I mean,
I don't know.
all you do is chime in, man.
Let me not cut you off, but I'm gonna cut you off anyway. I always do that. Let me not cut you off. I'm gonna cut you off anyway.
Well, I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah. So
Beyonce had one of the greatest albums of all time.
That was good. I deserve that one. So this crazy thing is happening, right? So shout out to BG. He just he got cast in Suits LA.
Wow.
Because Suits had a resurgence. And a few shows have had a resurgence where it came out X amount of years ago and then it gets on Netflix and then it has like a whole new audience.
Yeah.
Suits LA is one of them, so he's about to go shoot that.
New show though.
Yeah.
Different than the original.
Yeah, different than the original. Yeah, Suits LA. The point I'm trying to make is that I think if the right audience, right, like we on your show, we've been on other shows too, like if there's somebody in HBO, right? Because it always takes just like the right person to hear and be like, what? Why didn't we? Oh, you know what I mean? You never know, but you got to at least try and put it out there. Yeah. So to answer your question, I think that if we had the same resurgence as put us on Netflix and maybe show just the first season and see what happens, I almost feel like we would get the love in them because it'll get the same kind of like Suits
100%.
love. Like, why did we not see Suits? Like, why did we not?
It's not the worst idea, but I'm
not saying it'll happen, but I say if that would have happened, if it would happen, I think we'd come back. Yes.
I mean,
we would all do it just so because everybody's always asking us like, would we do it? Yes, we would do it. So.
But I don't want to be this actor out here trying to campaign for a show that got canceled like 10 years ago. Like that's not. I don't want to live in the past.
Yeah.
Like that's not good for me mentally. Right. But that being said, like. I'm so proud of this show. It's one of the coolest things I've ever done. Like I've done a lot of shit, but this is one of the only shows or projects that have people come up to me and say, this changed my life. 100%. This actually got me to move to New York City and start a business. And now I'm having success.
Right.
It's just so cool. It's inspired people.
Yeah.
And as an artist, like, I mean, look, I didn't create it. I was just a part of it. I can't claim it.
Right.
But it's just, I feel very proud to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. And so this How to Make It in America will always hold a very special place in my heart, in my life, and in my career. But, that being said, yeah, people want to do it. We're all game. Like, everybody's game.
I think
Ian would be game. Everybody's
catch
game.
up with that. The way movies now, you just get sequels or reboots, repurposing everything because no one wants to take any risks. Mm-hmm. They don't have the data to lose their job. Yeah. Right. Everyone wants to stay in the same position.
They want IP.
You can't fire me because I took something that happened already.
They want to play it safe. They want to play it safe.
I think TV is going to catch up with that, and I hope they do it correctly.
Yeah, I think
they could do it with HBO shows that are already in their catalog.
I would only do it if Ian Edelman was running the show.
Ian would do it though. Ian would do it
but I would only do it with him. Like, I wouldn't do it with some other. Yeah.
Also, like, there's a level, just to add to your point, like, there's also a level of like nostalgia too, where they're bringing back. Like, I just saw the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is back. I mean, obviously not,
but it's
good
dramatic.
As the original.
Yeah, but they did a cool reboot.
There's a nostalgia of like TV coming back. So who knows, man? But like, I really think the more that we do this, that somebody's gonna hear us.
100%.
Somebody's gonna hear us.
Next campaigning.
Either your pod,
campaigning.
on another pod, on our own podcast. I don't know, but like at some point,
even if it's a movie, I think Lake Bell was like, I'm gonna do a movie.
I mean,
movie would be
Did she say a movie? Did she say there was
Lake wants? Yeah, I think Lake wants to do it.
She directs.
Oh yeah,
too. She's been directing since How to Make It. She's been directing a lot of TV.
Are you guys in touch with any of the other cast? I know you guys are obviously very close. Are the other cast members from that show? Like, is there a group chat or something?
Well,
should start
the pod is bringing us all back together. Like we just had Lake on. She's coming out to. Well, I don't know when this airs, but she'll be on. And then we had Louis. We just did Eddie K. Thomas yesterday. It's great to catch up with Eddie. We played Capo.
Yeah.
And then, we did Cudi like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest asset as far as a reboot to me.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Cudi would.
He loves it.
He'd want to do something like a reboot of this rather than something new.
And Rory, he's actually like, look, sometimes I'm like, I should not say that, because whatever. I don't want to not get hired or whatever. He's so open about it, man. If he was on the pod, I mean, he kind of said it on our podcast a little bit, but he was like, yo, who do I got to make a call to at HBO? Like, what do I got to do? Because I think he's still tight about the cancellation.
I know Louis was too, yeah.
Oh, Louis was very open about it.
I was just blindsided. I didn't see it coming.
But really? Louis was
mad. Oh, yeah, I had no idea.
What was the call like that day? Did
Ian called
find
me.
out at the same
time?
time?
Tell him where you was at. Tell him where you was at.
I was skiing in Maine.
He was already spending season 3 money he didn't even have.
I was like, yo, we got this.
Been there before.
He's blowing the bag.
I was gone, man.
In Maine.
He was in Mammoth skiing and shit.
Skiing. I was chilling on the top of a mountain.
Like, definitely been there before.
Yeah.
And then Ian called me. He's like, it's not happening. I was like, what? I felt like my soul just pulled out of me.
I bought a 2-day pass at that.
His 5-night trip became a 2-night trip. Yo,
I gotta get
wrap
back.
it up. We going back home.
in, ski out. I was good, man. So it was it wrecked me, man, because I just didn't see it coming, and I just felt like we were on our way, and we had so much to tell with that. You know, so many more stories to unfold. I feel like we were just getting started. So I also, like the audience, I just was blindsided. And
yo, you know what I was doing? I was in LA in my car. Ian called me too. And I was actually looking at cribs in LA. I was like, okay, man, I'm gonna go. Let's go to West Hollywood. Okay, let's go to Hollywood. Wait, okay, I can't afford that. I was putting the numbers together, see the three money. You know what I'm saying? He calls me, say, Vic, I wish I had better news to tell you, and I knew right there. I was like, damn, you know, it was. You know, naturally.
But was it strictly because of just the numbers weren't performing?
At the time, we don't know.
We still don't know. Like I can't say it was because of this reason. They don't tell you that. They just say you're not coming back. That's what they tell you.
They tell you they're not coming back.
Thank you, but no thank you.
And also like,
but I love HBO. Like I'm not gonna shit on them because it's like and I've worked with them since and honestly, they gave us our shot. Like there was no show without HBO. Like I'm forever grateful to HBO. It was a beautiful story. And maybe it's cool that it's just like this cult classic that just lives for 2 seasons. Like maybe it's better that way that we don't touch it again. Right. You know, I don't know.
I understand what you mean by that. But it's just so hard for the story to end
on that note.
It's like, what if Nas just did Illmatic and then never came back?
Back to Fonte's Biggie comparison.
That's true.
It's just the legacy. It stopped right there. It's the greatest shit to us. And
it's James Dean, right? You know, you burn fast and die.
And
you know?
Have you heard the Chris Rock joke when he's like, everyone talks about Tupac if he continued to live. Yeah, I hope he would have been a senator.
Right.
But he might have just been kicking Jill Scott down some steps in the Tyler Perry movie. Like the legacy could have gotten worse.
We
don't know where Pac would have taken it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he would have been this political.
You never know.
It's just, in watching it this past weekend, watching both seasons, it just felt like this was something that I'm watching for the first time. And then you realize like this was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you actually took the time to watch it again. And the whole thing, not only just like the first few episodes.
This is my favorite show.
That means a lot, man.
Like honored. Yeah. I was like, damn, you watched the whole thing. I would watch the whole thing at once too if I could, but I think it benefits our podcast for me to do
I watched it right the night
way
before
y'all are doing it is great.
Yeah, in unison. Like when I'm like, yo, you watch it tonight, I'm gonna watch it tonight.
You guys are podcast pros. Give us like, what are we doing wrong? Tell us like, how can we improve?
On and off camera, by the way. We you know,
I think
constructive criticism.
I think what y'all are doing is great because y'all are reliving a very special moment, but the way y'all are incorporating, like you're having Ronnie Fieg, I think that's like super unique. That it only you two could do something like that.
Yeah, we were just talking about
because the show represents a streetwear brand trying to start it. In New York City, what Ronnie has been able to do with Kith is amazing.
Yeah.
Sitting down talking with you two and, you know, being able, which I know Ronnie would give you your flowers on camera and tell you how your show inspired him. He was at David Z's and doing shit like that in Soho.
Yep. About that.
You know the story?
I was there.
Yeah, no, I know you was there. That's what I was like, let's talk about that.
He was doing this thing working there at David Z's, but absolutely what How to Make It in America and Crisp inspired Kid. That's not, Ronnie doesn't have to admit that to me and I would know his line. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's just, how could it not?
Yeah.
So I think what y'all are doing, it's a very unique podcast, but it's so real to who you obviously are, to something that you're a part of forever, something that's in the culture forever. And I think that anybody that is in streetwear brand now, if they haven't already watched How to Make It in America, somebody that's in the fashion business at the streetwear level will tell them, you have to watch How to Make It in America.
For sure.
If you want to be in this game. And I think that alone with your podcast is, because what make podcasts special is it has to be a uniqueness to it.
Right.
There's a million podcasts. Everybody has a mic, camera, and is talking. But what y'all have is so special and unique. I think it's amazing.
Okay,
man,
but we're gonna be texting y'all too. Like if you and you like, yo, Vic, you should have done this, or y'all should have talked about that. Let me know. Let us know.
I mean, we'll say the off mic conversation, the visual stuff. I just think the idea of the theme of How to Make It in America and telling other people's stories, to spread that out in the middle of each episode.
Oh, okay.
If you just go episode 4, season 1, episode 5, like I would spread it out in between telling some of these stories.
You mean in the actual episode? Are you saying like do a recap?
Do a whole recap for season 1, episode 3.
1,
Then have a guest to just tell them how to make it in a more.
That's kind of what we're doing now.
I'm saying spread that out even more.
Oh, even more.
Spread the recaps out.
Like I watched The Sopranos episode base 1. Chris Maltasante. they have so much to work with that they can keep that pace going.
Yeah.
Right,
You guys have 2 seasons.
Right.
Yeah. And short
Spread
seasons.
that shit out because you want people to really anticipate when we get to the finale. Like,
See, I told you, man.
Yeah, you did say that.
I did tell you. Why don't you ever listen to me,
Been
man?
a cam
if you get to
moment right
season
here.
Rory
2
over
right
here.
away, it's like, all right, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's,
Because people are going to be
All right.
waiting for those. Those are like the bonus episodes.
Okay.
Looking for that
Okay.
in between. Spread
Yeah.
it out.
Those are the
Find people to
gems.
tell their stories.
Got you.
Like,
Got you.
Yo.
And just focusing on streetwear people.
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
the
We gotta
main
get more
shit.
into that.
Fire.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
are gonna get that.
Yeah.
Speaking of streetwear, real quick, just pivot. What was the name of that spot? You talked about David Z's, and I remember getting my Timbs to take David Z's, and then across the street, just west of it, that's where I got my
On Broadway?
North Face bubbles from. It was that spot right there on Broadway. It's like you cross the street at David Z, you go a little bit north, and it's right there. You remember that
Oh,
spot?
Yellow Rat?
Nah, not that
Oh.
one. It was a mad big spot, man. It was like that's where you got your
I
like
don't know.
bubbles, North Faces, you got everything there.
And it was on the same block as
It was across the street, but on the same block. So like you cross the street and you make a right, you go away from Houston.
I can't remember.
This is gonna be the best
Anyway,
part of the
whatever.
podcast.
Yeah.
I like.
I'll text you the name. I have the name for you.
I walked by the other day and I was like, of course it's not there no more. And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, what was the name of that spot? I used to go there religiously, and then I used to go get my Jordans from really the only Foot Locker I could get if I stayed there early in the morning, right down Broadway. You know the one that was right on St. Mark's in
Yeah,
Broadway?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
used to get the new Jordans there.
I'm gonna have the name of that store.
Yeah, I feel like once you hear the name, you're like, oh yeah, I've been
Yeah,
there before.
yeah.
Anyway,
Because you guys are like, you guys are still in New York. We're back in LA. I live in LA, New York, but like, what's good now, man? You guys put us on. Because we're not those guys anymore.
I'm not that guy anymore either.
What?
I don't go out. I don't,
really? I'm shocked.
I don't go out. I don't club. I don't do nothing.
Because you and I felt like we met at a
If y'all
club.
want to
I'm
go
not talking
eat,
about clubbing.
if y'all want to go eat and
Yeah.
get some dope spots, like then we could do that all day.
You don't want to go clubbing. I want to go clubbing. Yo, so wait, because you and I felt like we met at a club when we saw each other.
I met you in 2014.
Oh yeah,
at a club in Manhattan. I can't remember the name of the club, but I remember walking in
Penthouse.
and I was like, no, it wasn't Penthouse.
Griffin.
I was-
Starlets.
I was like, I said, yo, that's
Canal Road.
Kim. And I remember
2014.
in 2014, I was like, yo, that's Kim right there. I was like, yo, I gotta say what's up to him.
You were
Like,
definitely in
40.
the canal room for sure.
I can't remember where the fuck I was
the
at.
red wine.
and
It's 40. So you
You were standing up talking to some people,
Avenue,
and I just
up
gave
and
you a
down.
quick salute. I was like, yo,
Up and
big
down.
fan.
Damn, B.
And I just kept it moving.
All right,
like,
all
but
right.
it was like 2014. for
Okay,
sure, though.
okay,
It was
yeah.
like 24. But
Because
it
as soon
was
as you
real
came out
quick.
the elevator, I was like, we met before. I was like, I knew you
it was real
Besides,
quick.
obviously, the podcast.
Yeah, it was real quick. And I just gave you a salute and told you I love the show.
Yeah.
But this is our first time actually.
The club thing, I can't do it anymore, man.
I'm done.
I'm tired.
done.
I'm not. So
I walk-
I got clubs. Let me know. Okay, I'm not.
Exhausted. It's so weird.
I wouldn't know what club to go to now.
All right,
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Little
Because I don't think
sister-
you'd like Little Sister. To be
Little Sister would be the best bet for like the club.
Right.
honest.
Oh, you know
I
the
feel like
clubs.
you wouldn't like that.
I would
It's-
like, all right.
I it depends on who I'm with. The
To
crowd.
me,
I'm
it's
not
the version of
personally not club guy, but,
15-year-olds
like,
drunk
I
laying
can
on the
do it if
floor.
I need
Like-
to.
Yeah.
Jeans on Lafayette.
When I was
is
in
my
South Korea, that was
Jeans?
not a good look.
Jeans
I was
on
like,
Lafayette. It's
This
like
ain't gonna be here.
it's right around the corner.
It's a
literally-
club?
It's great.
Okay.
It's a good spot. That's the one that I would recommend.
I like
Yeah,
a
I
lounge.
can't
I like a
club.
good lounge.
My boy
your lounge
Jesus
is
over
great.
there.
Yeah.
Speaking of clubs and the era of How to Make it in America,
Yes.
rest in peace to Gold Bar.
Oh,
Closed last month.
But you know what? Gold Bar's closed before and it comes back. But it's like,
Yeah.
No, I think it's official.
It's dead
this
dead?
time.
With the
But
skulls?
you have to give it its credit.
skulls.
all right.
Is that probably the longest lasting?
Let's go.
Since I was 18.
longest lasting.
I'm 34.
Marquis still going,
Marquis
right?
the longest
Yeah, but
lasting.
Marquis
He
is
is
corny.
definitely
Gold Bar
going.
never really got
It
corny.
never. Yeah, I agree with you on
I
that.
shot
Yeah,
a movie in
Marquis,
Gold Bar.
Marquis was
anybody going
corny.
to fucking Marquis now.
Right.
The longest
Marquis was open
lasting
during the
club that did
pandemic.
not get corny to
That
me
which is
is
crazy
Gold
to
Bar.
me.
Okay.
I went
That's
a couple
funny.
times.
Yeah.
Like, it's corny, but he's like, I've been there
Is
a
the
couple
blonde
times.
still a thing?
No, I've been to Marquis too. I'm just saying
no,
Gold Bar
right.
still
Still
kept
open.
its like
During the-
cultural
during the
relevance.
It did. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked that Marquis was still open. I was like, and during the pandemic too, I was like,
Yeah.
yo, this is crazy.
Well, that's the thing about New York, though.
Wait, Marquis was open during the pandemic.
That's what we were talking about. I went there a couple times during the
I
pandemic.
went to like some underground clubs
I
that they
did too.
created out of like office spaces.
Wait, during the pandemic?
My nightlife scene in the pandemic was like, I occasionally did the Marquis thing, but I luckily have a lot of friends that own like bars and restaurants. And what they would do is they would just pull down the like the metal grates and like just draw the shades. And then like you just party in the back of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. They'd leave the kitchen open, bring food, BYOB. We'll just
Word.
get fucked up in
Everybody
the kitchen.
getting COVID.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, it's
Loving
COVID.
it.
being-
Oh, yeah.
It's
Super
a COVID
spreading,
party.
yeah.
Super spreader, yeah.
There's only one way to kill it. Everybody gets
I've been-
it.
I've done a
we
few of
all
those
get
too.
it.
Yeah, if we
Like,
all
cool.
get it.
We
Yeah.
all get it, then we'll be just fine.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. I was in the subway the other day, and I was like, yo, let me pull out my mask. This fool was like, mask? What you talking about? Nobody wear masks. I'm like, yo, it's crazy to me, man. I was just here.
I didn't say that.
It wasn't you?
No.
Somebody told me that. I was like,
no.
wait,
I said, you don't need a MetroCard, man.
That's what it was too. Because you know what I mean?
He's like, how do I get a MetroCard?
First of all, can we just talk about New York? I remember back in the day when it was just a coin with the little hole. Yeah, I know. That's what I was like. And now I'm like, damn, they charging you what, $2 for the bet?
$2.90. One way.
Bro, $2.90 back then when I was in LES was like.
You have the terms.
That was a day of food, slices, soda, and I could get on the bus.
Dropping the mic. You said it all right there. I'm not going to touch the mic, but I'm dropping it.
A slice of Hawaiian punch, and I can get on the train.
Bro.
For $2.90.
Tropical fantasy, dog. Yeah, the sperm killer, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, dogs.
Yeah, absolutely.
There should be, there was a podcast talking about the sperm killer. Just, it was called, I forgot what it was called. But there's a podcast out there that was talking about the myth of tropical fantasy, but that's a whole nother topic.
That was a real, that shook the hood up like COVID.
Bro.
When we thought tropical fantasies lowered your sperm count?
Yo, because I would play ball, right? I would play ball 10th and yo, Rory's like, yo, I'll play ball 10th and D, right?
So fucking low. I forgot that was a
That's what I'm saying, but we're going back.
That's up there with Lil' Kim getting her stomach pumped.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was crazy as shit.
Yo, so that, when I used to play ball, because like, a Sprite or whatever was a little bit more expensive, so you get the tropical fantasy.
Yeah.
But then the myth started happening, and I was like, well, yo, I'm not gonna be able to play ball because I used to play ball 10 hours, like from literally sun up to sundown, because they had the lights on the court. But I'm like, if it's gonna kill my sperm, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to last play ball. I'm like, so I used to just pay the extra 50 cents and get the Sprite or whatever, because Sprite was like targeted. It was targeting the hood hard back then.
Grant Hill was drinking Sprite.
Grant Hill was drinking it. Anyway, so
then you get a
taking
nutcracker.
me back, yo. Y'all taking me back.
How about the nutcrackers? You ever get the nutcrackers?
Nah.
No?
You never had a
in the park?
Nah, which one's that one? Wait.
That's what they just sell them in the park.
Nah.
You never had one?
Nah, maybe I
must have moved to LA.
Maybe the wick wasn't covering that. Maybe
nobody really knows.
Maybe the food stamps wasn't covering that.
The nutcracker.
Nobody really knows though.
You can get them uptown in Dykeman. They got them. If somebody's outside
in Brooklyn, I still get them every now and then.
Nah,
I'll get one every summer. I'll get one.
Yeah,
my wick wasn't covering that shit. The wick wasn't covering that shit.
Definitely wasn't covering that.
It's basically just people making their own drinks, but they get.
Are Tropical Fantasy still out there?
Oh, I doubt it.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Tropical Fantasy is still around.
I don't go to that part of the
bodegas, man.
I don't go to that. I don't go to that freezer in the bodega.
Yeah, so
I think that's why I don't know either.
I'm gonna stop at the water. I just get a bottle of water and I'm out of there.
Or the Rasta Monster.
Or Rasta Monster.
far from that shit.
Look how he lit up.
That was that shit.
Pero spicy.
Yeah, Rasta Monster.
Oh my God.
Last quick question before we leave. What was it like working with Johnny Knoxville as a serious actor?
Oh, you worked with Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah, because he played my manager on Lords of Dogtown.
It was his first real role.
I didn't know that.
No. Actually, well, yes and no, because he had come off that movie with The Rock, and that was a big deal. That's why.
Oh, but he was still, and in Men in Black, he played
Yeah.
Those were all caricatures.
Yeah.
He then played the kid in the Special Olympics.
Yes.
But this was the first time I feel like he got into sort of a serious role.
Yeah.
He was still funny, but.
So how he got that role is that at the time, his agent at CAA was Heath Ledger's agent, which Heath Ledger obviously from the movie. Yeah. So I think he was just trying to find kind of like what I was saying. I was a New York actor. I was trying to do different things. And so I think his agent found that, this is a good role. And obviously it's such a historical moment and people are going to watch this movie, which they kind of didn't at the time. But his agent was like, yo, you should do this. And this is a great role for you to play a serious role. The crazy thing about Johnny Knoxville,
the crazy thing about you?
A lot of crazy
things about him.
Starting at Lords of Dogtown of the crazy part of Johnny Knoxville.
That movie, it really, how do you say, encouraged a lot of bad behavior, let's just say. Because we were trying to capture a moment, 70s, hippy dippy, you know what I'm saying? Everything's free, let's try this new drug, all this thing. And Knoxville brought that kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was like, I remember one time we were working together and we were doing that scene. I don't know if you remember, but when I rolled up on Emil Hirsch and I was like, yo, man, I'm signed with whatever Johnny Knoxville's character.
In the convertible or whatever.
In the convertible, you remember?
I really love that movie.
Yeah. So right before we shot that, it always amazes me like how actors get, I'm not saying I don't get nervous, but the level of nervousness where you literally feel them shaking.
Who was nervous? Johnny?
He was. And so he was hey, buddy, hey. It was like some shit from the Matrix. You want the red or the blue pill? And I was like, nah, man, I'm good on the pills, man. He goes, good, I'm gonna take both of them. And I was like, you gonna do this right before we roll?
Be polite.
I was like, you gonna do this right before we roll? Boop, boop, didn't even answer me. Bro, it was,
murder the scene.
I don't know about murder the scene. He did murder a scene later, and I was like, a scene that he did later, which I think he murdered, He didn't offer the red and the blue because there was a lot of people in the other scene.
Yeah.
That one scene, the convertible, it was just me and him. So I think there was a lot of eyes that weren't looking at us at the time because he could do it on the low. The red or the blue pill. I was like, nah, I'm good, bro. Boop, boop. I was like, oh. And the reason why I was like, you got to remember, they took me from the hood. I'm in Hollywood and I'm like, oh, this is how they roll out here? Okay, yo, this is good. But the one thing that they let us do, well, they didn't let us do it. Let me take that back. The one thing that I was doing, I was puffing trees in New York, and I was definitely puffing trees on that movie.
You could puff trees and act?
But hold up. I was puffing trees when they were like cut, because it was the same thing like How to Make It.
Yeah.
We would shut down the club. And if you watch Lawyers and Dogtown, there's a lot of party scenes. We weren't at clubs, but there's a lot of partying. And it was like my introduction. Legit. It's like you took homeboy at the hood, you put him here, and you're like, yo, everything you're doing, it's okay, keep doing it. But just don't use your accent.
Wow.
It was crazy. It like tripped me out.
Sound like
but anyway,
Venice.
Exactly. To answer your question, he was mad cool. I just wasn't on that vibe that time. But he was really, to his credit, I think he kind of sat back at times and was like watching all these dope actors and was like, yeah, I want to step my game. He was so nervous that that's what he had to do. Yeah. I don't want to blow up his spot because I don't think he does that
No,
now.
but I think that's super interesting because you would say, why would Johnny Knoxville be nervous about anything? Like, he shoots himself out of a fucking cannon. He fights Butterbean.
That's what I was saying, bro.
The Butterbean.
Like, that's it. That way too. Like, listen,
he drinks his sweat after like running on the treadmill. I was like, what the like, you nervous about this little scene with me and Emil Hush, who, by the way, we weren't household names and we still kind of weren't. I was like, okay. He was like, the red or the blue. I was like, I'm good. Boop, boop. I was like,
I feel that way too. Like, we perform in front of thousands of people. We talk for a living. But if you put me like in a Starbucks with someone I've never met to have a meeting, like, I'm like, you get nervous. I don't know how to, that's not my world.
But you're going to take the red and the blue? I mean, I would understand one, right?
Johnny said, fuck it.
Yeah, and until this day, I don't know what that is. Like, it wasn't like, yo, bro.
He didn't know what it was.
Yeah, he didn't know what it was.
What's the difference?
They're like horse pills?
It was like, it wasn't it was like the gel one. So you know, like.
It's Tylenol, man.
No, it wasn't, bro.
He might have been fucking with you. It could have been.
No, bro.
It could have just been a placebo.
Because later, in another scene, Emil was like that. He did the same thing to him. Listen, I don't know if he took it or not, but he's microdosing. Did he offer you? Maybe early on.
That's pretty
He was on some shit. Maybe he was microdosing. Yeah.
The acting thing's funny because like it looks easy, right? Everybody's like, oh, they're just talking. But like you get people who haven't been trained or haven't been on set before and they just freeze. And you're like, it's like that Will Ferrell thing, like, what do I do with my hands? You know? It's really, it's a skill you have to hone. And it doesn't come natural.
Yo, another part that we were nervous about, and I'll leave it at that, is like Knoxville was nervous about that. Like I remember we were shooting How to Make It, and we were like, yo, this is a walk and talk right now. Me and Bryan out in the middle of Canal Street and action. And I was always nervous because, you know, those walk and talk scenes that we were doing in the streets.
We were doing them down here.
Yeah, we were doing it right. If one of us fucked it up, go all the way back to one. And I would feel bad because he was giving a dope performance, but I fucked up this line, so we got to go back to that shit made me nervous. So it's like the nerves are there, but I wasn't
carry
like,
this guy always.
He had to carry me. Yeah, but I wasn't like the blue and the red pill. I never did that to you. So anyway, I'll leave it at that.
I can't. Like I've worked with some actors who smoke before they act.
I don't know.
And I think that is all right. I did a movie once where it was similar to that story I was telling about Unscripted, but this was the real thing. Like I was smoking. And this is when I don't really smoke anymore, but I was smoking and then they did change my call time and they brought me in and I was still so
Stone.
And like, you know, when you get paranoid, like, and it's like, you think everybody's looking at you.
Yes.
What if they really were looking at you?
Yo, it was really Ben on the train. It was Ben on the Yo, you just saw recently, it was Ben on the train being like, am I talking too loud? Yeah. I gotta get off this train.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know how some but I've worked with comedians who just like, you go into their trailer and it's just weed, blunt after blunt. I don't know. I'm not a functional stoner like that.
I've noticed that I can't do it. I
it.
can't smoke before I pod. I can't smoke during because it's gonna kick in, and I'm either gonna start like looking into your soul, or like my mouth is gonna get so heavy that I can't even talk.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're getting great.
Then you're like, yo, you're like, yo, guys, let me get that chocolate fantasy, yo. Let me get that.
I'm not really a smoker like that. Matter of fact. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago. Rory took an edible. It was awful.
And I'm not a weed smoker at all.
How was it?
Okay.
Right before we started recording, I could barely read the TV.
It was bad.
Oh, shit.
No.
And I told everyone in here before we hit record, I just took an edible. I'm not sure I'll be able to get through this episode.
Rory was like 3 times.
I wanted to run home.
Why did you take it?
Did you get through it though?
Yeah, and then we went to Philly.
And they loved it.
We went to Philly, and we did like, meet and greets before and after, talk with the fans, and they were like, yo, you should take edibles more often.
Why didn't we get high,
I thought that was
Rory
the worst
today?
fucking episode I've ever done in my life.
Why did we get high, Rory, today?
I want to come back and get high, Rory.
So you hate me now.
No, I'm just saying. I want to see the high, Rory. That was the best
I'm gonna
episode.
do y'all show. I want to do y'all. I want to be high when I do.
All right.
All right, bet. All right.
That's what I want to do.
I'm gonna take.
You don't smoke no more,
I'm gonna take the blue pill.
You gonna take the blue?
The blue?
pill?
No, you know what I do? I take little edibles just to sleep. It's like
Okay.
I just I'm not
At
even
night.
trying to have fun with
kids
it.
too, you gotta.
And I don't,
Yeah, I don't. Something changed in my body chemistry where it's like I used to smoke every day, all the
Yeah.
time, and then all of a sudden it was just like I got paranoid, and it was the opposite of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of like clubbing. Like I do not want to be at a
I don't
club. That
wanna
used to
ever
be
do
fun.
that again.
It's
Yeah.
not fun anymore.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know.
I don't like how the edibles sneak up on you because I like when I puff, I know when it's gonna come. I don't
Yeah.
like when it's gonna come. I'm high.
And then
Oh,
not only
I
that,
can't
you
read
get the
that.
second wave,
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
rough.
That's why I
Yeah.
don't like doing it.
I would have preferred to hear the story of Meryl Streep doing the red pill, blue pill, that in Knoxville.
Yo.
That would have been weird.
Meryl was mad cool, dude. She was like she knows that she's a legend, but like so I think she goes out of her way to like disarm you and be very
I love
friendly,
people
too.
like that.
Yeah, like she
When you're
doesn't
So you know that you're this huge
Yes.
iconic figure,
Yes.
and you know people know
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they're in your presence that
Yeah.
this is Meryl Streep.
Yes, it's
And she
me.
does everything to be like.
Yeah. She used to
I'm
come
just a
into
regular-
my
Yeah.
trailer and just want to hang out. And she's like,
I
I
love
have my
people like
guitar in there. She's like, oh, you playing music? Oh, yeah, I play guitar with her and just hang
I
out.
love people. Like that.
She was so fun.
The
She was so
paranoia,
cool.
If I was high and Meryl Streep came into
Oh,
my
hell
trailer,
no.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this isn't real.
Yeah.
Start
I must be
touching
high.
her
This
face.
is not-
Like,
nah.
Just seeing goats everywhere.
With Heath on the set, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, we know the end of his story, and that was before Dark Knight. He played that role a little too fucking well on Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of my favorite Heath roles. And after you found out what happened with Dark Knight, was he acting?
Yeah. Did you ever meet Heath? Or did you just meet the character?
Nah, so like I said, it was my first like Hollywood movie. So when they flew us out there and I got cast, Heath actually went out of his way to call me, Emil, and John, and he was like, "Hey, come to my house, and let's just meet, blah blah blah." And so his vibe, we were just talking about this with somebody, Abby Cornish, who's another Australian actress. He wanted to start kind of and indirectly start right away, like just building the chemistry between us, right? It's like kind of what you said. And by the way, he was already like pretty known already. He had done he already done the Patriot.
Knight's Tale.
And Knight's Tale, the Patriot was like,
Was that before Brokeback? Or
I got a story, a real quick story, a funny story about Brokeback. But so we all get to his crib, and it's like my first time going up in the hills. We were just talking about the hills. You're telling me that you had rented a house, you stayed up in the hills.
they were there.
Oh, it was you guys. Sorry, I thought you. Okay,
I was there too. We were all
Okay,
there.
yeah.
The
So- but
house
it-
we had in the hills.
So it's my first time. So I'm
In the
like,
middle of
trying to,
nowhere.
this is before Waze and I'm looking at my, what is it, Garmin? The old school, what's it called? The
navigation.
The navigation you had to put in your car because it was called the Garmin system or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Gemini, whatever.
Shout out Garmin.
Yeah, shout out Garmin. Come back.
sponsor?
So I'm like, all right, I'm going here. I'm like, I don't know how to drive. I'm like, yo. So we get there, and it felt like I was like not in a Buddhist temple, but it just felt like his crib was set up in a way where like he's definitely
A lot of pillows.
It was a lot of pillows, but it was he was definitely on a different frequency, on his personal level. So we got there, we sat down, puffed. He had the bowl of herb, and we was just like, "Yo, can I?" I was like, "Yo, can I touch this?" He was like, "Of course." And I love Australia, so I was like, "Whoa." He's playing his music. I'm like, "This is the first time I'm getting put on to like I knew Rolling Stones, but like I was really getting put on to like real old school Rolling Stones, and like just even that whole movie, I was put on like old school Black Sabbath, like all the music. Which, by the way, we talk about how to make it music, like really like low key Lords of Dogtown music was kind of an amazing sort of soundtrack too.
Clearance budget, I'm sure. Was
No, you know what happened? When we wanted certain big songs, like even Iron Man from Black Sabbath, Osborne's son, what's his son's name? Jack, huge fan. So the supervisor was like, I already know Jack. I already know he's a fan. He's gonna give it to us on discount. We got all of that on discount because all these guys were fans of the people that we played, Tony Alva and all that, back in the 70s when they were nobodies, and then they became these big stars. They were like, oh my God, we would be honored to be. So anyway, long story short, Heath though set the tone, and then once we started shooting, he was already in the Venice Surf Club. He already knew cats. Like we would get on set and he already knew all these old school cats because he already went out of his way to go meet these cats to get that the research. But then he brought, nobody knew this, but back in the day, Heath was already a surfer in Australia because he's Australian. So he was already a surfer. It was just a different sort of frequency when it came to Venice. But the surfing he already knew. And so like, I guess my point is that he really took the time to like embrace, he knew it was a big deal for us. And he just like embodied that. And I think that he was already on his way to not doing these big mainstream movies. He was like, yo, I want to do something that is character-based. And right before he rapped, he had just booked Brokeback Mountain and it was in the trades. And all of us young dudes was like, yeah, so you're gonna go break Jake's back, it looks like, in Montana. They're like, oh yeah, you guys are funny. I think that's his best performance.
Well, I think
Brokeback.
You don't think it's better than Dark Knight?
I think Dark Knight was great, but I think
those two,
he had a different frequency with Brokeback. I just
he was incredible
to be able to like do what he did and like just kind of strip everything. Literally and figuratively. As an actor, I thought that was his best performance. He definitely broke into something in Dark Knight. Don't get me wrong, but I think for me, just as an actor, like I just kind of knew where he had to go to do those things. It was more here. And not like, so, you know, the whole Joker thing. Like,
but that thing
was here.
Brokeback, he did have this like physicality where you could see that like the secrets was torturing it was twisting him up, and the way he contorted his body, that was the first time I was like, this dude's on another level.
For me, it was all here, man. So like when all that was happening, but you're gonna see it through the eyes. And so you see how, and with Joker, like, yes, it was all there, but there was so much distraction with that. And but like he couldn't escape this. You couldn't escape that. And Brokeback.
And then Joker too, costume, makeup.
It helps the illusion. I think with Brokeback, there was no illusion, bro. It was like, the hat, and it was here.
Joker to me, that's like one of the most iconic performances I've ever seen.
I think for sure, period. For sure.
But I also think
I do like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
He's great as well. I mean,
personally,
both those guys, their work, they go deep. They go real.
Which, by the way, they were, you know, they came up together. So like I would go to these parties, and Joaquin was kind of known just from the Ridley Scott Gladiator. But he hadn't, like, he was doing stuff, but he hadn't like really popped. So they would always hang out, and I was like, oh shit. Yo, you homies with Joaquin Phoenix? That's crazy. Can you imagine the amount of times they probably like audition for the same part? Like, that's crazy. Anyway. But thanks for the question, man. I haven't talked about Heath in a long time.
Even his performance in Lords of Dogtown, like, he didn't just play some stoner burnout.
No.
Like, it wasn't a Cheech and Chong role that he did. He was very much like the Joker in that movie too. His performance in Lords of Dogtown, I gotta go back and watch that. Enough.
Because you see like, oh man, I'm about to lose these kids who I was hard on them, but like it was kind of like that like tough dad love. And then when you saw he was about to lose everything he worked for, just like what Heath did, again, without like kind of a Louis Guzman, not you know, two different type of actors, but where it was all internal. Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to not lose all this, and then he kind of loses his mind at the end. It was crazy.
It's an incredible role.
Yeah.
And just I'm trapped here, and all the kids that I used to make fun of are now going on with the rest of their lives. Oh, I'm the fucking loser out of this entire thing. No, that's really his role.
I gotta go back on that.
All these kids that I thought I could control now have moved on with their lives and want to do shit. And I used to clown them for trying to do other shit.
That's right.
And now I'm this fucking loser still trying to make a fucking surfboard. Going through fucking overpaid bills and...
remember that last party scene? And then he throws the bottle at the end of the room? Everybody got out of his way, man. Like, no, I'm talking about literally like, because, you know, he had that surfboard. He was like, hey, man.
Leaning off the shit.
And I was like, this is an actor that you want to get out the way because you're going to get hurt. And I know later he's not going to mean to hurt you, but he's giving that kind of performance, get out the way. So if you catch me in that scene, like, I'm on the wall just like this. Like, I don't want to get hit. But not in a bad way. Like, it was control, but it was in a way where like, I'm not going to take this moment right now. This is this moment. It was crazy. Sorry. I'll shut up.
No, this is great.
Tell the people where they can catch the pod and listen to you guys.
Yeah, you can get it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on @WeAlmostMadeIt podcast on Instagram, or follow me @Bryan Greenberg,
@Victor Rasuk.
And we also people comment on the @WeAlmostMadeIt podcast. If you tell us what you want to hear, we answer fan questions. So slide in the DMs.
DMs.
This has been a nostalgic just like listening to you guys, watching you guys sit right here in our studio has been amazing for me personally on a personal level. So I want to thank you guys for coming through today, spending time kicking it. Thank you for How to Make It in America. Thank you for being a presence in my circle's lives every Sunday for some years. And I'm looking forward to season whatever. Whatever the next season is from you two, I'm looking forward to it. I support you guys.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
So much.
Honor to be here, man. For real.
We'll talk to y'all soon. This is How to Make It in America, How to Pod in America.
Before we go, I found the scene that we were referencing earlier of him robbing and running away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We could watch this. Let's watch this on the way out.
Yeah.
Real leathers, 150 a piece. Mark Buchanan butter salt in the jackets, 150 a piece. Get one still chilly. Hey, get one for your boyfriend. There you go, right there. Check one out. Check one right there.
I was just ad-libbing.
Okay, guys. Let's see the vendor's permit.
What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's right here.
That was great.
See it.
He's in a lot of HBO shit. Like
I don't know who he is. He's so good. Fucking big.
Fucking Vic.
look.
Well, call your friend back here, please.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm gonna call her right now.
Yeah.
We'll talk to y'all soon. Be safe, be blessed. I'm that nigga. He's just ginger. Peace.
Oh, thank you guys.